Welcome to Violent Vinyl Radio, where we break down the best hair metal albums from the 80s and the 90s. So grab that volume knob, crank it up, and enjoy the show.
Live from the VVR studio in downtown Boston, it's showtime. Welcome to Violent Vinyl Radio. I'm your host, Des, and as always, I'm joined by my two co-hosts. First up, the podcaster holding all the aces, Dangerous Dave.
Bork, bork, bork. Hello, everybody.
Oh, no.
And last but not least, the podcaster who likes the dark side of the beach, Lisa.
Hey, that's my Swedish hello to all of you.
Feeling a little better today?
A little better, yeah. I can speak.
Okay.
Maybe better in Swedish today, yeah. Yeah, talar svenska.
Oh, shit. What does that mean?
That means I speak Swedish.
Did you know the Swedish word for hello is
hey.
hello?
And hey. Hey.
Speak a little Portuguese from working at a Portuguese painting company. Você está falando comigo? Americana? It means, are you speaking to me in American? Yeah, one of the guys told me, because he's like, those guys are talking shit about you. So if you learn how to say this, they'll think you can speak Portuguese. They called me Gringo Fumo. That was my nickname. I'm sure it's not good. Okay. As always, the mission of the show is for us to introduce each other and you, the listeners, and albums which you may never. Oh shit! Just like that, we're fucking going down the fucking in flames.
Oh no!
As always, the mission of the show is for us to introduce each other and you, the listeners, to albums and bands which you may never have heard before, while also discussing the classics. Like today, I'd never heard this album before, so I want to thank Ben for bringing it to my attention. So sit back and enjoy the show. Dave, where can they find this fine podcast?
We are available on most podcast outlets. Also, check us out on YouTube. Here's where to find us on social medias. Instagram at VVR Podcast Insta, and on Facebook at Violent Vinyl Podcast.
Right. Head over to the merch store. So listen, guys, we don't do a Patreon over here. We put this fine podcast out for you for free every other week. And I know you guys are tuning in because I see the numbers. All I ask is you just go over to the merch store. Just buy something. Help me keep the lights on. I pay for this out of my own pocket. All of it. So get yourself a Violent Vinyl coffee mug with the big bloody handprint. It's fucking cool. Get yourself the new print shirt. Bloody handprint. Guy at my work got one. Looks great. Buy them both. Buy one once a month. Okay.
Buy some t-shirts.
Buy some t-shirts. So the link is vvr.printify, printify.me. Do it in lowercase. Get you over there. No problem. If you have any trouble, head over to the Facebook page. The link is there waiting for you. Lisa, Dave. So Dave, you played a big show yesterday, yeah?
Yes, I played over at the Pike Hair Fest in Webster, Mass. At the Indian Ranch show. There was a bunch of really cool tribute bands playing. They had a Shot of Poison tribute band. They had a Def Leppard tribute band and a couple other ones. Ozzy tribute band was really excellent.
Queensryche was opening.
Yeah, Queensryche tribute band, and then they had one that was, I believe, Deep Purple, Whitesnake combination tribute band. But we were on the second stage, on the beach stage, so we were playing in between the bands, and it was a great time. It was perfect weather, and there was tons of people there. It was great times.
Awesome. Yeah, Lisa sent me a couple of videos, one of your sound check, and then one of you playing Alice in Chains cover song. Which song was it again?
Man in the Box.
Man in the Box. So she sent me Dave
at the end of the show.
The solo, and I closed my eyes, and for a minute I was just listening to Jerry Cantrell just rip the solo out. It was perfect, Dave. Nicely done. Shot of Poison, awesome. Good band. Good band.
Yeah. And we even had an ad up on the video screen behind our stage.
I was getting to that.
Oh, okay. Go right ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes, the wife said, "Hey, did you see this? Did Lisa have a banner made?" I said, "No, it's not a banner." I said, "There's a giant screen behind the stage, and obviously you made some sort of a advertisement for a VVR radio, and it looked just great. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, really good." Okay, mailbag. We didn't get any mail this week. Well, at least I didn't. But
I did.
maybe we'll get some new listeners from the ad.
People hate me. They don't want to write to me anymore. But I did get a text from my buddy. He'll go nameless. He doesn't need to be named here. He knows who the fuck he is. He said that he actually saw White Zombie live twice back in the day. And he was very entertained for the first couple of songs. Then it got a little monotonous. So he kind of agreed with our take on the album. He also has very fond memories of this album, Second Coming by Shotgun Messiah. Said he hasn't listened to it in probably a decade, but he's going to dig it out of the old shoebox and listen to it. And he's very excited to listen to our breakdown of it and see if he likes it as well, if it has stood the test of time. Lisa, tell us about these emails you've gotten.
Yeah, so we got a message from Kim Lowry Crawford, and she said she liked White Zombie okay back in the day, which is kind of pretty much all the feedback I got from everyone. In my little goth world, people loved this band. They loved White Zombie. But I think in kind of the glam population, it wasn't as well known until Rob Zombie had his solo career. So I got another private message from a guy named Vinny who said they weren't his favorite, and he didn't even really go back and start listening to White Zombie until Rob Zombie's solo career came out, and then he went looking for more stuff, and that seemed to be kind of the feel of all the messages I got. Going back to Hairfest just for a second, Kim also sent us another message, and she asked us for a meet and greet in Tennessee for us. And I said, Dave and I would go, but I don't think we could drag Des out of his house to do a meet and greet anywhere else unless it's in his backyard.
Or the casino.
The nearby casino might work. So yeah, that's fun.
We went to the casino over the weekend. It was great.
Speaking of Hairfest, we met a lot of people, and we did talk about the podcast with tons of people who were at the show, which was great. We met the people representing a magazine called Rocked Magazine. Have you heard of this?
No.
Okay, it's remember the magazines back in the day, Metal Edge and Circus and how everything. Okay, so there's a new magazine released in 2024 called Rocked Magazine. So you can find them on rockedmag.com. It's basically opened by the guy Mark Wise Guy Weiss, who was a huge photographer back in the 80s and has just this catalog of photos, and is kind of putting them into magazine format. He's also selling them as like gallery prints. We met kind of their whole team there. It was really awesome, and so I'm giving them a shout out. They may also give us a shout out in the magazine, which is pretty nice.
That would be cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. They were being repped by a guy named Kor Rozic, who is a singer out of Pennsylvania and has a new single out on YouTube. So you can check that out too. It's called The Dollar, and I really recommend you go see it. It's like industrial rock with a glam edge. So it's like everything is kind of throwing back to this 80s time. So the magazines are coming back. The music is coming back. Like, there's nothing new, and this music was like the most creative and of any of our times. So like, there's nothing new. It's all going back to what it was. So,
yeah, I mean, like you were saying with White Zombie and hair metal and all that stuff. I mean, I look at the numbers for the show, and I can tell when our listeners are liking the pick and when listeners are not liking the pick.
Yeah.
Listeners did not like White Zombie, okay? Like, the episode did fine, but I mean, if you look at it next to like Rat or fucking LA Guns, I mean, got a fucking mud hole stomped in its ass.
Yeah.
So yeah, they saw White Zombie, and were not eager to click on the episode. Let's just say. I am going to try to be professional today and maintain the layout of the podcast. So when do we do the hair, the lead singer thing?
That's after the facts.
After the facts. Okay, because I was ready to go
after
right
the
now.
facts and after the opening thoughts, right? Or do we do it before the opening thoughts?
Uh-oh, Lisa's now falling down the rabbit
Maybe.
hole with me.
Oh my gosh, Des, you've infected my brain.
Yeah, after the opening thoughts also.
Okay.
I'm like
yeah,
the little
see,
worm
I was
in
right.
Star Trek I put in your brain. Okay,
Yeah.
let's keep going. Tonight we will be discussing Second Coming, the second studio album by Shotgun Messiah, produced by Pat Reagan, great production, Harry Cody and Tim Skold. Skold with the two little dots like Motley Crue. Skold. Released on August 22nd, 1991 on Relativity Records. The album did not appear on the U.S. Billboard 200 as far as I could see. Dave, Lisa, did it appear or no?
It did not.
It did not.
I don't think so. I
No.
think one of the single did maybe, but
The album
get
definitely
to
did
that.
not. Yeah.
Okay. The band's lineup was as followed. Tim Skold on vocals, Harry Cody on guitars, and Bobby Lycon on bass. Styx Galore. Styx Galore is credited as the drummer, and he was a member of the band, but the drums on Second Coming is a mix between programmed and triggered drums with a little teeny sprinkle of organic drums on top. And usually, this is why I take my pants down and take a shit on the album. But not today. Not today. These were really fucking good programmed drums. I was shocked. And honestly, usually I can pick it up in 2 seconds. I didn't know. I wouldn't have guessed unless I had read it. So kudos to whoever fucking did these. There is one song where the drums fucking are caca. But that's it.
we have a little more information about that later.
Okay. Well, I think we're going to hear about it right now. Dave, do you have any facts on this band?
Yes. So the band comes from a city called Skovda. You can, Lisa, you can correct
you
my
were right on, yeah.
pronunciation. All right.
If you're speaking as an English person, Skovda.
I've been there on vacation 6 times. Fun fact.
Wow. In Sweden. And they were formed in 1985 and disbanded in 1993. Their original name in 1985 was Kingpin. Their first album, Welcome to Bop City, was released by CMM Records in 1988 and got them a #1 single in the Swedish charts titled Shout It Out. Soon after, they moved to Hollywood and got a record deal with Relativity Records. But bad news, another band already had the name Kingpin, so they changed it to Shotgun Messiah and released a remixed version of the album under the new band name. According to Wikipedia, the album will go on to sell almost 500,000 copies. That I'm not sure about that. That sounds like a lot.
Feels a little inflated.
But it could be correct. The singer on this album, Tim Skold, was originally the bass player on their first album. On this album, they recruited American bassist Bobby Lycon from New York band Battalion. Another fun fact about Bobby, he appeared on Married with Children, the TV show, in 1990 as a member of the band The Gutter Cats.
That was such a great episode.
In the episode where Kelly Bundy auditions to be a rock video model.
Trashes the set with her clumsy dance moves.
That band was actually awesome.
I loved it.
Yeah,
we've been trying to track them down.
Yeah, I've got a little bit more to talk about when we get to
I listened to a little of one of their songs today on YouTube, actually. I think it's the one that they played on the show.
Nice.
Can't remember the name of the song, but I listened to it today, actually, so coincidentally enough.
Yeah, it's pretty good. In 2019, Shotgun Messiah's original lineup was close to reuniting for festival shows, but talks eventually fell through. In a 2022 interview on vinylwritermusic.wordpress.com, credited to Andrew DeCicco or DeCicco.
DeSecco? I think it's DeSecco.
I don't know. DICECCO. DeCicco. Harry says his earliest guitar influences were Richie Blackmore or Tony Iommi or Scotty Moore with Elvis or whatever happened to be on television. Johnny Winter, Chuck Berry. The first time I really, really latched onto guitar players was Alice Cooper with Dick Wagner and Steve Hunter.
You're talking about this guy that's on this album?
Harry Cody, yeah, the guitar player.
I would have never guessed.
Yeah, well, those were his earliest influences.
This guy's a legit technical fucking shredder all day long.
Oh, yeah. In that same interview, Harry reveals the truth about their name change. We had a myth-making kind of story back then about how we accidentally bumped upon the name, but the mundane truth of it, that it was suggested by Cliff Coltieri, the vice president of Relativity. We were thinking about new names, and he said, "What about Shotgun Messiah?" And we immediately liked it, and we went, "Yeah, that's a good name." Not very exciting.
I heard they stole it off the back of some girl's jacket. Oh, inside joke. Inside joke. Okay.
Ouch. And the programmed and triggered drums on this album are a precursor to their next album, 1993's Violent New Breed, which feature only Tim and Harry from the original lineup and a much harder industrial metal sound. I'm sure
It's
we'll
so different than this.
Yeah.
I listened to it. I thought it was really cool, though.
It is cool. Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about that as the show goes on. And that's my facts.
Great. Lisa, take us down the Lisa rabbit hole of facts.
Okay. Put on your thinking hats. First thing I want to say.
I don't have one of those.
Oh, God. First thing I want to say is this is a really great pick. I'm glad that someone suggested this album because for me, it has it all, especially with so much crossover and side stories that fit in with everything that I love and that's important to me. So I'm very happy about this. So a quick recap, because we've done 1991 before, but 1991 was where glam was kind of taking its final bow. There was a lot of upset in the music industry. Bands were falling apart from being basically just burnt out, being on the road and fighting, between the members and financial stuff. The album charts, we saw, unfortunately, Vanilla Ice, Paula Abdul, Mariah Carey, Van Hagar, Garth Brooks, and Michael Jackson. Des, yeah.
No, I mean, Van Hagar, it gets a bad rap, but I mean,
bad rap.
All right, but how about this? You take
Better
the
than
tag.
nothing.
Listen, we take the tag of Van Halen off it, and we name the project 5150. Do you like
then
it?
I'm
better?
fine. Yeah, I do.
Okay,
Absolutely.
me too. Okay,
Yes.
good. So we're all out.
Yeah.
It's just a name. Don't be Van Halen with it.
Yeah.
Okay, good enough.
So on the singles charts, we had Madonna, CNC Music Factory, Paula Abdul, Bryan Adams, Prince. But we had the rock charts then too, which looked really different. So we had Rush, Queensryche, Sting, Tom Petty, Rolling Stones. But here's the thing. Now that was the Billboard charts at the time. Now, if you go to the charts that are kind of the retrospective look back of this year, what you actually see is Nirvana, Guns N' Roses, U2, Pearl Jam, Chili Peppers, Ozzy, Tupac, Soundgarden, Smashing Pumpkins. So it looks very different than what was on the top selling Billboard charts as to what the great music was from that era. So I'm not going to go through all the, grunge and country and all of that stuff. We're going to step right into Shotgun Messiah. So obviously they came out of Sweden at a time where there were quite a lot of metal bands in Sweden, and very few of them actually made it over to the US, to us. And it wasn't all black metal specific, which seems to be the mindset. Everyone's like, oh, if it's metal out of Sweden, it must be black metal. No, that wasn't true. Of course, we should mention Europe, because Europe came out of Sweden around the same time. And I know that a lot of people have some bad feelings about them. I don't care what you say.
Da-na-na-na.
Yep.
Da-da-da-da.
The biggest earworm song of the decade came out of them.
So gay. So
Yep.
gay.
Loved them.
The final countdown.
Don't care.
I fucking hate
Don't care what you say. There was also Swedish glam metal band called Sister, which I actually really loved. I urge everyone to go check them out. I actually wanted to kind of do them as a should they have made it, but they did have like some major label releases, so it really didn't fit. But just a little shout out to them because they were fantastic.
Did they have a hit that we would know or no?
Nothing. They never came over to the U.S., so no,
okay.
I don't think they would be recognizable to anyone here. But definitely go check out their stuff.
So they were
have-
kind of like that cheater pick that Dave made.
Sort of, yeah,
Hey.
exactly. Well, they actually had several major label albums, but they never really hit it big here. They were big in Japan, big in Germany, never made it here.
I'm big in Japan.
I was going to say, I was huge in Japan. I actually toured Japan in '93. If you didn't see me around town, I was in Japan.
Yeah. Okay. They were also Shotgun Messiah now were named number 38 best rock bands of Sweden ever. So that's interesting.
Pretty small scene.
It is compared to the U.S. So you have to understand how much smaller Sweden is.
Right behind Yngwie, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So there's obviously some controversy about this band's third album. Yeah, and ABBA, of course, ABBA came out of Sweden.
Oh, ABBA.
Yeah, I actually will talk a little bit about dance music out of Sweden in a minute, but so there's some controversy about this band's third album, with the first two albums being glam metal, kind of that sound, maybe even glam pop in the earlier album. But the last album, completely different sound, like industrial metal, which was a direction that Tim would continue to go on in his future. We'll talk about that in a minute. People have argued that the band's third album was by far the best, but that maybe they should have done it as a new project, which is kind of what we were just talking about a second ago. Should it have had a new name and gone on as a different project? Would it have hit differently?
I want to just chime in on that. So I think with a band like Shotgun Messiah that never really reached any like major mainstream fame, but they did like carve out like a little niche for themselves.
They did.
I think you got to ride that name. Like if you got a good idea, you can take that name to this new idea and see if it sells to a new genre of listeners. So I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hang on to whatever marketability you have. And
And as we're finding, they had a very dedicated fan base, even though it was a small fan base. People loved them and still loved them. So they did have something going for them. And to be fair, artists develop, right? You're not the same artist. You're not going to write the same music your entire life. You're as an artist, you're going to develop, you're going to change, you're going to have new interests. And that's kind of what happened. And we saw that when we did Fastway. We had Dave King go into Flogging Molly, which was not a glam band. It was a Celtic folk punk band, right? So completely different sidetrack. Pretty freaking cool. People are allowed to change, right? Even if you go back to our Whitesnake podcast, they weren't a glam band originally. They were much more of a classic rock, kind of generic rock band. And they changed and it really worked for them. Like this is when they hit their superstardom. So, change is inevitable, and that's kind of what the takeaway here is.
But this isn't a traditional hair metal album. This is something else.
No,
it's like a hybrid album, like somewhere between like Alice in Chains and like the last hair metal band. Like it's just, I don't even know if they know what this is.
Yeah. And you can definitely, just in some small places, you can hear a sprinkling of that future electro sound that Tim was going to go into. So it definitely had a lot of different pieces to it.
The further they fucking stray away from like hair metal, the more I'm liking what they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah, same here. I even think it was quite a departure from the first album. The first album was much poppier, much more glam.
Yep.
Yeah, so there was definitely a development between their three albums for them. Shotgun Messiah's history obviously isn't very long. Their touring history is probably the shortest I've seen of any band that we've done on this podcast. They did do a lot of club shows. They played a little bit with Damn Yankees, did some touring with REO Speedwagon and King's X through the early 90s, but they didn't play a lot of shows, just generally speaking, even back in the day. They did have a show in 2016. And when I say they, I mean Shotgun Messiah had a show in 2016. It was actually Zinny Zan and Styx reuniting and playing as Shotgun Messiah in 2016.
And that's the original singer from the first album.
Right, exactly.
Who did not continue with
I'm sorry, we didn't mention him yet.
Album.
Yeah, so he was the original singer, and obviously Tim did take over. So as Dave mentioned, they did attempt a reunion in 2019. COVID kind of threw that off the rails, and while Dave said nothing has happened since, I have some really interesting updates from this. So I think the article you read is the same article I read, that they basically just never got it back together again. But big news, yesterday, the 19th of July, an interview came out with Harry Cody. And he states that he has been recording with Tim and basically has an entire Shotgun Messiah album in the can.
Shit.
Right? Yeah.
Wow.
They're willing to release it. They're kind of trying to figure out the tour structure and the infrastructure, but that might be coming out soon, which I think is hugely exciting.
Sweet. This is world premiere news.
World premiere news, and they just yeah, right? Yeah. So that was from yesterday. He also mentioned, this is Harry Cody still, that he's been recording with Zinny Zan, and also has quite a few songs, maybe not a full album, but definitely like a project set of songs to release for that project as well. And his comment on that was, and this is his own words, after decades of wanting to punch him in the face, they put everything in the past and now they have some recordings. So 2 sets of recordings that we heard about just as of yesterday.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cody was talking about how he really wants to get out and play again. And he's really, really grateful about how the fans from back in the day are still listening to the music and still asking them to come back together and do something. And I think it's coming. So big news for them, and a timely for our podcast too, that it happened yesterday. So so let's go into the individual guys. Now, Tim Skold, of course, this is where my interest in this band lies quite deeply.
So much better than the first singer.
Started playing bass at 12 in cover bands and met Tim as a young met Harry as a young teenager. They together dreamed of being rock stars, which didn't we all back when we were 12 and 13? Yep. He did study engineering in school, but not music engineering like you would have thought. He actually studied production engineering and began working building military equipment at the age of 17. He was then drafted into the Swedish Army, where he continued to play bass on weekends and would rehearse with Cody during that time period. According to Wikipedia, after his time in the military, he worked as a library assistant, a Volvo employee, and a gardener at a bathhouse during this time period.
A bathhouse?
At a bathhouse, yeah. So let's be clear,
Like
bathhouse does not have the same meaning here as it does in Europe, particularly in the Norwegian countries. It's a sauna.
It's much more above board.
Yes.
And
It's not
not
the
not a party.
Texaco one. Route
No.
party
No.
den.
It's a sauna where you go in with your friends and you sit in the sauna and then you jump into the cold water and it's like a
jerk each other
very
off.
common. Yeah. No, it's like everybody, all your friends would go in together and do this. It's a social activity, right?
Yeah.
And when a lot of times when people who especially come from Scandinavian countries and come over to here, they're actually shocked that we don't also do this. This is such ingrained into their society. So
Dave,
yeah.
we got to get together and strip down and hang out in the sauna.
Sure.
Get some of the other boys together. Be awesome.
Me and the boys down at the bathhouse.
Fuck yeah, that's great. That's cool. Not really. Okay.
Yeah.
Lisa's
So
just like, shut up.
I love it. Well, the funny thing is,
You guys
that
are like 5.
I love going to saunas. So it's like for me, it's like a thing, but it's pretty rare in this country.
I'm fine going in a sauna by myself. Just don't want to hang out with Dave and Pink and fucking 9 other guys.
Okay. So as Dave said, in 85, they formed Kingpin in Sweden. And that would be Harry Cody and then Pekka Sticks Galore.
Pekka?
His first name is Pekka. Yeah.
Like the bathhouse?
Yeah, no. You're terrible. You need to get out of your house more and meet people from other cultures is what the problem is here.
Give
Yeah.
Pekka my number. We'll hang out.
Yeah. And the original singer, actually the original singer, his name was J.K. Knox. This is even before Zinny Zan came into the band. And when Zinny Zan came into the band, that's when they actually got kind of some backing in Sweden when they had him as a singer. So they recorded their album Welcome to Boptown, which is that like a ridiculous title to anyone else? Is it just funny to me? Welcome to Boptown.
Bop, isn't it? Welcome to Bop,
Bop City. Yeah. Welcome to Bop City.
It's
Sorry,
better
Town
with-
City.
It's
I don't
better
know.
with
Is
the
it-
city.
Is it a translation thing? Maybe
It might be. Yeah.
I don't know.
I like
but
Bop City.
But to be fair, as far as I know, the original album was in English, so not sure if it
Right.
was a translation issue or not.
I don't know. Maybe they just thought it sounded cool.
Yeah. And as you said, they decided, actually Zinny Zan was the one in front of this, wanted to move to the US and be big here. And obviously when they came here, they had to change their name due to a copyright issue with a band out of San Francisco, which is going to be a pattern we're going to talk about a little bit later. They remixed this album from Sweden and released it here, obviously as Shotgun Messiah. When Zinny Zan left the band, they actually went on a search for a new singer, and they auditioned lots and lots of people. It was Cody that actually pushed Tim to switch over to vocals. And there was a moment where he was actually going to do the vocals and play bass, kind of a la Peter Steele a little bit. However, decided that he really wanted to focus on the vocals, and that's when they did a bass search instead of a singer search. I guess a singer search was much harder. So,
I'm glad he did. I fucking hate when a singer plays bass. Blackie Lawless, couple of fucking exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, I'm good.
Yeah.
Geddy Lee, Gene Simmons.
Geddy Lee, Gene Simmons. Yep, you got
Doug
it. That's the
Pinnick.
list. Yep.
Yeah.
Doug Pennis.
Yeah. So we mentioned the third album in a few minutes ago, where they went basically industrial. There was a lot of controversy even inside the band of whether or not this was a new project. Skold claims that Shotgun Messiah was already going in that direction, even without personnel changes, even with anything, that the band was simply changing, and it was still the same band. And he is behind the fact that they kept the name and went on. So a quote from him from back in the time of when they were recording the third album, which was kind of funny. He says, "I have a sampler, I had a synthesizer, I had a sequencer, and I lived on floppy disks, 1.4 megabytes. I'm not going to do the math for people today, but if you don't understand, it's a minuscule amount of data compared to what you're carrying in your hand on your phone today."
Crazy.
My setup at the time, it was a Roland W30 used as a sampler, and a Kurzweil 2000, another sampler. It was both a synthesizer and a sampler. This was my workstation, and I lived on floppy disks. I would back up my stuff on floppies. Each song had no less than a box of floppies.
Oh my God.
Imagine. Yeah.
I can't.
And in that same album, just for Dave's interest, he says that Kiss Alive 2 was the first album he ever bought with his own money.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Good album.
Yep.
Good choice.
Yeah. Now here comes the important part. After Shotgun Messiah ended in 1993, Skold went on to form his solo project named after himself, Skold. Freaking amazing project, by the way.
Great name.
I like it. Right? It's his name, but I like the name. It's in the vein of Nine Inch Nails founder Trent Reznor, where he would go on to write, record, and play all the instruments on this project, and basically did that through the whole history of this project. As Skold, he toured with the Genitorturers, and at the same time did remixes for many other bands, including Prong. So he was stepping into kind of production at this time. And it was at this time when he met KMFDM's frontman, Sasha Konietzko.
I was going to say, fun fact, I had the guitar player of the Genitorturers eating a steak and cheese sub in my studio last Christmas.
That's amazing.
Right.
What a fun band.
What's up, Eric?
It's a really fun band. If anyone who hasn't ever heard from them, they should definitely go look them up.
Great show. Great show.
Yeah.
Went and saw him play. I was blown away. What's that guy's name? The drummer, Kirk.
I can't remember.
Dritz. A great drummer. Fucking awesome. Guy fucking pounds the fuck out of the drums, man. He's so good.
Yeah. I don't know how they stayed so underground they were just cool, but I don't know.
A lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay, so Tim would go on to record a follow-up album to his first album in 1996. When he did this, he gave copies of the demo to some of his trusted friends. And to his dismay, 6 of the 10 songs were released on file-sharing platforms without his permission. Now, remember, going back to that time, that was when Napster and all of those file sharing, what was it? There was a few of them. LimeWire, and everyone was out there just kind of sharing music. And it was before, page streaming, and it was basically, everyone giving away music, and artists were kind of getting screwed. And unfortunately, he really got screwed because his music was released before he even released it himself. At the time, his fans urged him to finish the album, but he wouldn't finish that album, that was 1996, until 2022, when he released it as the album Dead God. Fantastic music, by the way, if you go check that out. That kind of really put a slowdown in his career. He was really upset about the music basically being stolen, especially by people that he trusted. But he would continue on, and he would make a total of 8 studio albums and 2 EPs under the name Skuld. So that was quite a project there. In 1996, he also started working with one of my all-time favorites, KMFDM. And this is where it starts to get really exciting. He appeared as a guest on 2 albums before becoming a full member of the band, contributing to 6 of their albums in total. Some of my favorite albums of all time are on that list. He also appeared in MDFMK, which was kind of a side project. Sort of during the hiatus of KMFDM, some of the members flipped the name around, did a project, put out an album, super cool album. Go take a look at that. And he would also join, we're going to have to mention this band today, unfortunately. He would join Marilyn Manson for 2 albums as a band member and would produce basically 2 or 3 more albums, I think, for Marilyn Manson. Golden Age of Grotesque, Eat Me, Drink Me. He was producer on those as well. He does have comments on his time with Manson, which was an extended amount of time. I believe they kind of worked together between the band Marilyn Manson and kind of producing projects for close to a decade. And it was around the time when Manson was accused of all the things he's been accused of. We've kind of talked about this before, but the abuse and the manipulation and all of that. He claims that he never saw anything related to abuse by Manson towards any of the women who have complained, which doesn't surprise me at all, because abusers aren't going to show you that side of themselves. They don't want anyone else to know. They're going to do it in the darkness. But he claims that he never saw any level of aggression in Manson at all and was really shocked when the allegations came out. So there isn't much information about why he left Marilyn Manson's band, but there are rumors. Since Skuld is a creative powerhouse and it was handling writing, production, and all of kind of the business things around the corner, that he was actually making more money than Manson. And there was some jealousy there. Despite his claims that he says there was no aggression in Manson, there is a video of Manson throwing a bottle at Tim during a live performance. There's also thoughts that it was Twiggy's return to Marilyn Manson that would cause Skuld to leave. Who knows? Really, could be anything. So I'm just going to name a couple more projects that Skuld worked on. We have the Skuld versus KMFDM project album, which is one of my absolute favorites, and you may not like this album. It's kind of a artistic, maybe an art house album with lots of strange little musical interludes and sequence stuff in between the songs. So you'll have like a full song, and then you'll have like a little 40-second musical interlude, and then another song, and then another interlude. It's really interesting. Also has a really super cool cover of a comic book style woman blindfolded with a cigarette, and the album cover, Skuld versus KMFDM, written across the blindfold. Super cool. So check that out. I believe he was producer on Dr. Midnight and the Mercy Cult, producer on 3 of Motionless in White's albums between 2012 and 2014. Producer of another of my favorite bands, Aesthetic Perfection, their imperfect live CD DVD, where he would play acoustic guitars and do some production work, recorded in 2013 but not released until 2015. He also had a project called Not My God, which was him and Nero Bellum from Cyclone 9. They would put out 3 studio albums. between 2020 and 2023. Unfortunately, they did go on a tour in 2023, but unfortunately, it was their first and their last, as that group kind of collapsed into itself. There is 3, I don't want to call them movies, 3 video, like there's one, In God's Hands. It's kind of a movie. It's like a short movie, an art house movie in 1998, which he performs in. He wrote and produced a movie with Marilyn Manson called Doppelherz, which was like a short film, and that includes him, Dita Von Teese, one of my favorites, Madonna Wayne Gacy, obviously from Marilyn Manson's band John 5, and many others in that one. And he also worked on the music video Better the Devil in 2016. He's been a producer for so many things, but most notably for me, a cover of one of my favorite songs by Depeche Mode, A Personal Jesus, obviously done by Marilyn Manson, and another one, Tainted Love, which was a cover of the Gloria Jones song, covered by Soft Cell, and then covered by Marilyn Manson. So a cover of a cover, and he was the producer on that one.
Soft
as well.
Cell is my favorite version of that.
Yeah, great song. Yep. He did a cover of a song, White as Chalk, with Leather Strip. Leather Strip, another one of my favorite bands. Tim has a website. This is so strange. It's a very simple website, a single page, and it just links to kind of his booking agency and his social media. He is active on Facebook and Instagram. And most excitingly, he has a new album coming out on October 10th. The single, All Humans Must Be Destroyed, which is about kind of the takeover of AI, was released, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. And there's another single coming out, Pop the Smoke, which will be released on August 1st. Looks incredibly cool. So,
Cool.
Wow, that guy's keeping busy.
yeah.
Jeez.
No doubt.
He does so much stuff and so much cool stuff. Just so excited to follow this guy's career. Really great. Okay, let's go over to Harry Cody on guitars, Swedish singer, songwriter, composer, and producer. Not to be confused with Harry Cody, the actor, who has appeared in an absolute stack of movies and TV shows in the 50s, like Dragnet and The Cisco Kid, among hundreds of others. Cody has been compared to Joe Satriani and Eddie Van Halen. I don't know that I heard that too much in his playing. I definitely heard maybe more Nuno than I did EVH, but before his career, he worked at Volvo, which we also said Tim worked at Volvo, and also served in the Swedish Army.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
cool.
I think
Thank you for your service
Yes,
I
thank
think
to
there was
Sweden.
I think there's conscription in Sweden. I'm not entirely
Maybe.
sure because
The
I did say that Tim
mandatory,
was
service.
drafted. Yeah, mandatory service. So
Well, I'm sorry. I feel bad for you.
yeah. So Harry's first band was named Bedlam after the horror movie with Boris Karloff, where he played with his brother and cousin. They actually played 50s style songs ramped up to metal versions, which we have seen a lot of bands
Nice.
do that. right?
Misfits.
Yeah. And Tragedy doing the 70s disco songs as metal. So
Sure.
a lot of bands like bringing back the older music in metal versions.
Like it.
Yeah. He said that in Sweden at the time, music was very different than the US. Really, only the dance bands we're talking about, like ABBA, were making any money in the country and touring around and, doing club shows. There wasn't a lot of room for much else. He didn't own an amp and he had a cheap guitar and he spent a lot of time borrowing equipment for gigs, explaining that pedals were a luxury that he did not have access to in the beginning. So that's interesting. His next band was named Shylock, which he formed with Tim. Shylock obviously being a Shakespearean reference, but he was shocked when he found out the name was already used by another band in Denmark and due to trademark infringement had to change the name. We have a trend here. Yeah. This band
I thought all names originated
San
in
Francisco,
San
right?
Francisco, actually.
Yeah.
Rumor has it.
So this band was actually a cover band that played Def Leppard, Judas Priest, and songs like that. As we said, he's a founding member of Kingpin, which would go on to become Shotgun Messiah. He played guitar in the band's albums Welcome to Bop City and, of course, the remaster. He claims he was heavily influenced by Motley Crue's Shout at the Devil, as well as Rat and Kix. They found that Swedish audiences didn't really like that. Swedish audiences were listening to pre-glam Whitesnake, right? So kind of more like the classic metal, Deep Purple. And that prompted them to really decide they absolutely had to move to the US if they wanted to do anything. He makes some interesting comments about other bands of the era, claiming that he didn't, while he was in Shotgun Messiah, he didn't get to see a lot of other bands play because they were touring and kind of doing their own thing in the studio, and that he hadn't even heard of Skid Row. I think this can't be possible, and we're going to have some comments about this later as we listen to this
Fucking
album.
way he never heard of Skid Row.
Yeah. So Cody's guitar work earned him notice, resulting in a feature in the New Talent column of Guitar Player magazine in '86, in Rolling Stone, and he was also mentioned in Guitar Player and Guitar magazines and Musician magazine. So
Well earned. I mean, this guy is fucking so technically sound. I was blown away by his playing. I mean, it's not my cup of tea, but I can appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. As a side note for all the gearheads out there, and this might be really interesting to you guys, he plays with copper picks.
We'll talk a little bit more about that later.
And I imagine that makes a very different sound than a plastic pick or something like that. I found that fascinating. And he didn't do that because he thought, he was coming up with this great sound. He did that because he was sick of going through so many picks and breaking and losing them. And these were sturdier, so they were actually cheaper for him to use.
So, Dave, I've got questions. this whole pick thing, I've got questions. So I've never played with a metal pick. I play with a heavy Padula pick, and mine are purple. So metal pick, break more strings or no?
I've never used a metal pick on guitar, but I used to use a metal pick on bass, and I never broke a string.
Can you break a bass string?
Oh yeah.
That would hurt.
But an eye out.
Yeah.
But I would imagine it's probably a little bit harder on the strings if you use a metal pick on guitar.
Do you play light picks or heavy picks?
For guitar, I use medium, and for bass, I use heavy or extra heavy.
Okay, and you'll remember that Marty McFly played with a metal pick.
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
Fun fact.
Yes.
I did not
Michael
know
J.
that.
Fox is also was a decent guitar player before he got Parkinson's. He still plays. I saw him actually play, post Parkinson's doing Johnny Be Good, and he was still getting it done. So.
Nice. Yeah. So by the third album of Shotgun Messiah, they were getting really experimental. And I don't know if you can tell this on the album. I listened to it pretty close and I wasn't sure, but a lot of his guitar tracks are actually played backwards for a different effect. Yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
didn't hear any of that.
Yeah.
Dave, did you hear any of that?
No, I didn't notice that.
And I don't think it happened. If me and Dave didn't pick up on it, I think that's folklore.
Okay. After the disbanding of Shotgun Messiah, he joined a band called Coma for like a minute, along with playing with Saigon Kick vocalist Matt Kramer, not to be confused with the Polish rock band of the same name, Coma, or the jazz band from Denmark, Coma. So we can see.
Nothing gets me more fucking charged up for a record than the name Coma.
Right?
Fuck
There
is
were
that?
many, many bands named Coma. So
I heard there was one in San Francisco.
Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't doubt it.
The
Yeah.
original. Carl.
So he was also a founding member of the band called Das Kabal, not to be confused with the Danish deathcore band Das Kabal, or Cabal. Actually, they go by just Cabal. So another band with multiple bands with the same name. He would do his first soundtrack with Rhino Bucket singer George Delivo. Sorry if I butchered that last name. And the song was for a film called Boogie Boy, which looks to be, let me just say this, if you haven't seen the movie, it looks to be a really good low budget movie about a guy released from prison, starting a new life when his drug addict cellmate comes back and basically gets into his life and interrupts all of his plans. There's lots of YouTube videos available for Das Kabal. It's kind of punk industrial techno, and it's super interesting. He recorded with Tom Waits, and he was playing banjo. So that's an interesting one. He's composed like after his time in these bands. He started composing music for film and television commercials, and working for a company called Groove Addicts, which eventually changed their name to Grooveworks, that does the sound for tons of commercials and other media. His music has been featured in lots of commercials, including Extreme Home Makeover, Gatorade, and Sears. Among other things. He did this work after being burned out on touring and just wanting to stay home and write music.
So he's a regular Charlie Harper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, jingle writer. Yes, yeah.
Nice.
In an interview in 2022, well, think about this. Everything that we watch, right? You don't realize how important music is to the things that you watch, even if
Sure.
it's just those little tracks in the back that are electronic that just play it. Like if you take music out of the stuff that we watch, it would be completely empty and have a different feeling. But
Yep.
people don't understand how much music is actually in the stuff that we watch. But yeah, so that was a side note. He claims that when he was doing the work for commercials around maybe 2022 or so, that basically just became not lucrative anymore. And I'm gonna maybe guess that some of this music, some of this background music, is now maybe being created by AI instead of human beings. That's my guess. It used to be that you were really well paid to do commercials and such, and now it's not so much. It's not really worth the effort. You have to answer to a lot of people who know very little about music, but they still feel entitled to an opinion. And I guess they should, because they're holding the purse strings. That's his
I
quote.
told you guys before, I was commissioned to write a jingle for a real estate company in Florida. From a girl who was friends with somebody that worked there. They were looking to have a jingle done. And she said, I know a guy in Boston. So they gave me everything they wanted in the song, in the jingle, names, name of the company, what they do, blah, 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 blah. And they said no promises. So I duped it up in my studio. I sent it back and they absolutely loved it. And it plays on Florida radio to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie
Awesome.
Harper. I got paid, $85, I think.
Sweet.
Yeah, great. So he shares that he he did an interview and said that he was planning a YouTube tutorial set. So then I went and looked. He has actually done a series of videos on YouTube for his work in Shotgun Messiah, where he basically goes through each song and does kind of a guitar course, teaching you how to play the song, how to play the leads. There's some tab stuff in there. It's really cool.
Oh shit! Be right back. I'm going to YouTube.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's a
Get my
really
guitar.
cool series. It's almost like just a guitar lesson from him for each of the songs, and it's really cool. So in 2019, he says about a reunion. If it is, it's going to be Tim and I, and then if it is, it'll probably involve a new album. I don't see us just going out playing the greatest hits and drinking beer like some of the other bands. But of course, we know now that as of yesterday, they have actually done that. So, yeah.
Yeah, but he means they want to write some new music
New
too,
stuff.
and not just go out live on their
Right.
past glories like Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah. Oh, we should talk about the Motley Crue thing when it's kind of been outed that they really were the band that was kicked off the Aussie show.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Asking for 1/3 of the take and asking to be able to use backing vocals and backing musical tracks while they played.
We were talking about that off show air, and I'm fine with that, man. I mean, I pay money to go see a band play. Use some fucking backing tracks. I don't give a fuck. Use it. Use
I
some
don't have
backing.
trouble with backing tracks, but I have trouble with asking for 1/3 of the total take of the show while playing backing tracks.
No,
when it's for charity.
When it's for charity.
Yeah, no.
imagine.
That's all bad. But I'm all for bands using backing tracks and filler music tracks. I mean, give me the album. Give me the
Nope, I don't like it.
Don't lip sync. I mean, I don't want lip syncing.
If you want some keyboards or some cowbell or some bullshit on tape, that's fine. But get up there and play. If you can't do it on stage, you got no business being on stage.
No, but I mean, if the whole band plays, and they all sing backups, everybody's doing everything they do, but then you just kind of fill it out a little bit. Just give me a little juice.
But what about the situation like with Steel Panther, where the recorded albums, it's all Satchel, but he's playing 2 or 3 or 4 tracks on the album. So he is actually playing to you when you see him live, but
Yeah.
his other tracks are tracks.
Steel Panther should hire me to play rhythm guitar.
You heard it here first.
Awesome.
That's the solution right
That's
there.
how they should be doing it, Dave. Not the backing
Yeah.
tracks. It should be Dave.
Okay.
I like
All
it.
right.
The show was awesome, but I would prefer to provide rhythm guitar.
Oh shit.
Okay, so last comment on Harry Cody. He has an Instagram, Harry Cody Official, where he posts occasionally, but it's a lot of stuff about Shotgun Messiah and its history, which is really cool. Even I think there was a post just a few days ago about Shotgun Messiah. So it seems to be driven by a management company that runs his page, that represents him, that does some great videos with interviews with him and things like that. It's pretty awesome. So
Nice.
yeah. Okay, moving on to Bobby Lycan. I love this. I love this guy. From New York, recruited as a replacement for Tim on bass when he became the singer. Came from a band called Battalion, which also features Michael Monroe's guitarist John Ray Sierra. Don't know if you know him.
I don't.
Nope.
There are
I
several.
think that was back in the day.
Yeah. So there are several bands with the name Battalion. Anyone want to guess where one of them was?
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Wow.
Yeah. But what
Cornered
the band
market.
the band that we're talking about was featured in a movie called Zombie Nightmare with the song Out for the Kill. This is a 1987 zombie movie starring John Mickey Thor, who also did the music for the movie and would go on to produce Battalion's 3-song demo for them. They were working on an album and it never got completed. And then he kind of got pulled into Shotgun Messiah and that project went sideways. I did find a photo of this band Battalion alongside Joe Ray Sierra, looking cool in his lip service shirt, very similar to what he would wear in what Dave's shared for us, the Gutter Cats episode of Kelly Bundy's Married with Children. So this would have been season 4, episode 15.
Decoy Woman. That was the name of the song.
Yes,
Decoy
Woman. Yeah. So
They were a real band, though. The Gutter
they were a
Cats.
real band. So remember, we talked about them in maybe one of our first episodes in the podcast, saying that we couldn't find them and we thought that they were not a real band. They definitely are. The guys look so freaking good and the song was so good. And we thought there had to be some kind of trail of them being musicians. And I think at the time we talked about them at the beginning of the podcast, we couldn't find a trail. Well, here is the trail.
We did a lot of detective work.
Yeah. So he is the bassist in the video. So if you remember the show, Kelly's dancing around on the stage and she actually kind of wraps herself around him. And the producer is like, no, you're supposed to be dancing with the singer. And she says, but I like him better.
I like him better.
Yeah. So that's who he is, looking super cool. So they did put out a 4-song demo with Bobby Lycan as the bassist. And Decoy Woman, again, was the song that was on the show. That is on the 4-song demo as well with some other songs. This would also be his only acting credit, but what a fantastic cult moment that we all remember before he was brought into Shotgun Messiah. Shotgun Messiah is his only musical credit. His website, bobbylycan.com, which used to exist, is now defunct. He did have another band called UNI, that's like capital U, capital N, capital I, from 2004, which doesn't seem to have much of a footprint online, and I can't seem to find him today. So that's Bobby Lycan. So Styx galore. I had to check if this wasn't Styx from Steel Panther, but that's Styx in India.
Different guy.
Oh, love this so much. Love these stage names. So we did mention earlier his real name is Pekka Olinen.
Pekka.
Yeah. So Zinni, the original singer, claims that he has been in touch with Styx over the years. They obviously played a show in 2016 under the Shotgun Messiah flag. I'm interested, actually, that show that they played in 2016, you didn't see the legal argument that you saw with some of these other bands with, how we had like 2 versions of Rad and 2 versions of this band. Or
Much higher
other
stakes
band.
with Rat. They
Yeah.
don't give a shit. They're like,
Nobody
"Go ahead."
argued. They just were like, go ahead. Who cares? Apparently, they played some festivals in 2014 and 2015 from Shotgun Messiah's first album. So they were kind of already playing together, although they weren't playing under the Shotgun Messiah flag for those festivals. There's very little about him online. His social media is completely locked down. He looks to be living in Sweden now, working in a production technology company, training people in production methodology. And you can find him, but there's really nothing about, like, he doesn't put out that he was in Shotgun Messiah or anything like that. He's just like a regular guy now. So yeah,
I've
that's
been in
it.
some bands like that I like to just kind of duck. Okay.
Uh,
Good stuff, Lise. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Took us through it. You were talking about the floppy disks. So it was
Yeah.
funny. It reminded me of something. So before DAWs, before I got my DAW, I was a little late to the game. I've always been just old school. I love recording music. So I've always had different, recording devices. And the last one I had before DAW was I had a Tascam Digital 24 track. This thing's fucking huge. And, I live in a condo. So it was like taking up a lot of space. But
Yeah.
this thing had a CD burner in it and like mastering things. You could master and then burn a CD. So I had stacks and stacks and stacks of CDs. And then on top of that, you had to use like a little memory card. That's where you stored the information on the 24 track itself. So I also have piles and piles of these little teeny memory cards that like look like they go into cameras. I still have I wanted to sell the 24 track, but honestly, with the technology out with DAWs and stuff, I could never get back what I paid for it. So it is wrapped up in a comforter in one of my closets, and
Aw.
there it will stay, I guess.
Maybe it'll be in a museum someday.
I don't think so. Dave, have you dude, I've got some old Tascam 8 tracks that had cassette tapes that I still have. So crazy stuff. Stoned Age, the movie. Did you watch it?
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Okay, so I had an idea. I wanted to review a killer fucking heavy metal rock and roll fucking movie on this channel, but I didn't know if you guys would want to hear us break down a movie or not. I mean, write in. Have you guys seen the Stoned Age with fucking Hubs and Joe? And fucking, it's just these two metalheads that drive around in the fucking blue torpedo car and party and drink beer for one night and meet the hot chick. And it's just so like, it reminds me of the day so bad. I was Hubs. Yes. So, right in.
You know what movie I think we should do?
What?
Rockstar.
That's so fucking lame. I mean, it's a great movie, but this is so cult classic. Like, if you know, you know. So guys, if you haven't seen The Stoned Age, go watch it. If you have seen The Stoned Age, write in, tell me what you thought about it. And if you'd like to hear us review The Stoned Age, because it also, of course, has a killer soundtrack, let me know. And maybe we'll do it. And if not, maybe I can drag Lisa and Dave over to Hey, Did You Ever See That Movie? Our sister podcast, and we'll do a rock and roll episode over there with the wife.
I believe you guys did do Airheads already.
We did do Airheads.
Yes, that was a great episode.
Yes, that was back in the day. I believe I don't remember. There's some crazy stuff.
It was a good one. Yeah.
It was. Yeah. Okay. So let's do, I know we're supposed to do opening thoughts here, but let's change it up today. Let's rate the singer. What do you guys think?
All right.
Okay. As always. All right. Let's rate the singer. As always, it's 1 through 100, 25 on hair, 25 on style and stage presence, and 50% on vocal talent. See, if my punctuation was better on my writing, I wouldn't fumble through these. There's no periods. I remember one time we were talking on Hey, Did You Ever See That Movie? I'm like, oh, so the little dot means stop. The one's like, shut the fuck up. Okay. So I'll get us started. So Tim looks great. He has cool hair. I mean, I thought it was great. I'm going to give him 22.2 on the hair. I mean, it would have been better if it was black, but I'm fine with it. I watched a live video from a concert off of this album, and he kind of has like this sort of Jerry Cantrell meets like hair metal punk guy vibe. He hangs on the mic a lot with both hands, but he runs around. He's into the show. I thought it was pretty cool. I'm going to give him 18.2 there. He's kind of a hybrid, and I appreciate that. And as for vocal ability, technically, not a great singer, but he's different and he's doing his own thing. And live, he covered this album 100%. And I can appreciate all of that. So let's say 26.9 there. He's very average, if not a little below. Sings in a very low register too that you don't hear a lot. And it starts to get a little bit like, start kind of wanting to hear some higher notes, but it's fine. Total score 67.3. Dave.
Well, the guy's got fantastic hair, big and blonde. I gave him a full 25.
Nice.
When we kind of went over this a little bit, but when looking for a singer after their other guy didn't work out, Harry, the guitar player, asked Tim to try and give it a shot since he had already had a good voice singing backups, and due to his looks was already a favorite of the girls who would come to see the band. The bonus is that they wouldn't have to filter their vision third hand to another singer. Tim worked on his lead vocals and they proceeded from there. Unfortunately, style and stage presence for me fell a little flat. Looks like his normal uniform was some pants and no shirt.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
I watched a little bit of a live show they did in Detroit in 1992. We'll shout out to the For Rockers Only channel on YouTube. It was on their channel. He moved around a little bit at the very beginning and end of the show, but the rest of the time planted himself right in the middle of the stage, just singing. His only stage move was a little headbanging now and then. I wonder if he never had time to develop lead singer stage moves and was a little nervous out there, not knowing what to do with his hands when not wearing his bass guitar.
That's why he had him hung on that microphone.
Yep. So I'm only giving him a 7 for style. Vocal talent, he gets a 30. He gets the job done. He's in tune. He's got some attitude. It works. Total score 62. He's fine. He did the job pretty much as well as anyone else.
We saw it pretty similar. I went a little higher. Lisa.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Here we go. All right, hold on. So if this guy looked like a fucking trash bag, let's say he weighed like 215 pounds, raging acne and greasy hair, like balding. Do you still love this guy's getting 100?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
No. Well, yeah, that's
he looks
being
cute with
honest.
his shirt off.
Yeah, he does. He
That
does.
is one of my comments. Please, thank you very much.
If I was gonna go to a bathhouse with somebody, Tim would be fine.
Yeah. So back to the hair. Great big blonde hair. I'm assuming his curls weren't natural. I've never seen him with like long hair that was straight, but I'm not entirely sure. A lot of the singers back then, looking at you, David Coverdale, were doing those fake perms. It didn't look fried out, so that's why I feel like his curls were.
I only saw him in braids. That's the only like actual promo picture I saw. He was wearing those braids.
Yeah, no, he definitely, when he takes the braids out, he had like perfect curls. Yeah.
Oh no, I like the braids.
Yeah. If you see the cover of Shotgun Messiah's EP, I think it's called I Want More. It's basically just his head banging, and it's just this woof of like curly blonde hair. It's amazing. So perfect hair.
Cool.
He did go into that braided look. Now I called it like it wasn't dreads. It was like on the borderline of dreads. It wasn't quite the Rob Zombie style, but he definitely was going into that industrial look when he still had the long hair, where he had the separated braids and things like that.
I like that.
Yeah. As he evolved into the industrial metal look, he obviously shaved most of that and pretty much rocks a mohawk now, which is ultra cool. His clothing went a little weird over time, right? When they were glam, they were costumed, right? The whole band, not just him. They were glam costumed, which was fantastic. They weren't afraid to put on some vinyl pants and, take off their shirts and wear lip service and all that stuff. It was great. There was a moment between that look and the industrial look where they went a little grunge, I think. And it was really during the time of this album. So there was like shots of him in flannel and blue jeans. And I was like, oh,
he looked exactly like Jerry Cantrell. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was this time, around 91, like even the rock bands were, putting on blue jeans instead of leather pants.
Yeah.
And
smart move though, for a band that wasn't pigeon-toed into any like look. Like, they were able to maneuver at this point in their careers. So why not? It was a good move.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
I didn't like it.
Yeah. When he finally did step into that full industrial look where he went wildly minimalist, black, very gothy, very, leather and vinyl, that is the look. That is absolute perfection. I think he had a commanding stage presence. I do agree, though, with Dave that I think in the very beginning there was a little bit of he was uncomfortable because he had nothing to hide behind.
Yep.
Yeah. But I think it, definitely as he went into his solo career and forward, that was gone. I mean, he was a professional very quickly. So
thought he
there
was
there was a minute where he was kind of like, what do I do with my hands? That's exactly the sense that I got. His voice, not my favorite glam voice, but he was so unique and deep. And when all of these glam bands were reaching for that, I don't want to call it falsetto, but that high pitched,
Yeah, as high as you can sing.
as high as you can sing, he was doing the gravelly voice in the low ranges, and that made him different and gave them a different sound. And I did like that about him.
Yeah, that's why I don't hate this album.
Yeah, and I think sometimes though when they went into the ballads, and you could actually he does have a sweet voice to use. So he had it, but his more natural voice was a lower kind of gravelly voice, and I don't know, I thought it was okay.
He definitely had some range.
Yeah, and not to mention he did do some interviews back in the day, particularly with Ricky Rackman, and you can hear his beautiful Swedish accent before he loses it.
Oh,
And you know how I am. I'm a sucker for an accent.
holy shit.
It's funny, a lot of the men that come out of Sweden and move to the US, they actually lose their accents pretty quickly, or even get trained out of them. I know like Alexander Skarsgård as an actor, when he came in and he did, what was that movie that he was in? Zoolander? He was in Zoolander.
Okay.
He had a thick Swedish accent.
Mhm.
And his next acting gig, which was less than a year away, you wouldn't even have known he was an American. So yeah, they go away pretty quickly.
That's
sad.
Hansel. He's so hot right now.
That's Hans. Yes. Well, do you remember the gas scene where they blew up? They
Oh,
caught
yeah.
on fire. He
Yes.
died tragically in that scene. So,
So
yeah.
good.
I'm giving him lower than I want to, just as like an overall career number, because of maybe some of the not knowing what to do while he's on stage, and the vocal choices maybe in this album. Like he had the voice, but I think there were some choices that could have been changed a little bit. So I'm giving him a much higher score than you guys are. I'm giving him an 83.8. But if we were to score him today, he would be almost 100 for me.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta put a stop to this. Please add up those scores and tell us where Timmy Tim lands on the Violent Vinyl frontman leaderboard.
Okay, on the Violent Vinyl frontman leaderboard, Tim Skold, lead singer of Shotgun Messiah. This would have been in 1991, I believe it is.
Yep.
Got a total score of 71.03, putting him at number 14 on our chart, just below Davey Vane and just above maybe a nemesis, maybe a friend, Trent Reznor.
Interesting. Trent Reznor is way better. Way better. If I had a project I was doing in any genre of music, I'd be going with Trent Reznor over Tim.
I don't understand how Davey Vane is so low, but at the same time, I look at who's higher than him, and it's like, okay, well, maybe I kind of get it.
It was his dirty little feet.
Aw.
No, Davey Vane's fucking great. What place is he in?
He's in 13th place. Yeah.
And above and behind?
Blackie Lawless is above him, and obviously Tim is now below him.
No, Blackie Lawless isn't as good as Davey Vane.
I
We've
agree
made some
with you.
mistakes.
Yeah. And I'm the killer there. I was the highest score on Blackie Lawless too. So
Oh, so you
there you have
fucked
it.
Davey Vane.
I did.
Not literally.
well,
but
no.
Not that we
No.
know about.
No,
Okay.
did not.
What
No.
we're doing. Okay, let's do some opening thoughts on this. We'll get us started. Before Ben Brooks had suggested we do this album, and I fought him on it. I actually texted him back. I'm like, guy, I did not like this. I don't think you want to hear me break these songs. He's like, you fucking did White Line. You can't do fucking Shotgun Messiah. I'm like, you make a good point. I think I offended him. I don't know if he listens to the show anymore, to be honest. Yeah. But anyway, so I had never heard this album before. I had only heard Heartbreak Boulevard, their one, recognizable hit. I listened to the album once. I really didn't like it. Like, I just really didn't like it. But something drew me back to it. And, sometimes when I don't like the album for this show, I'll listen to it like once or twice and that's it. Something drew me back to it. I listened again And then I listened one more time Friday. I put it on while I was working and just listened to it all the way through. And I got it. I went, oh, okay, this is a strange little album with its own unique character, sprinkled with some really good hooks, like unbelievably greasy guitar solos. But the question is here, I guess, would I listen to it again? I don't know. Let's find out. Dave.
Well, I am in the same boat as you. I've never heard this album before. It's a fresh one for me. Pretty sure I have heard Heartbreak Boulevard around, but generally not familiar with this band. I do remember seeing Harry in small features in guitar magazines at the time, late 80s, early 90s. That's how I heard of the band. He had big spiky hair and a yellow Ibanez. That's all I know. So we'll see how it spins from seeing how their first album came out in 89 and this one in 91 and the next one in 93. I was already wondering if it's another case of, band being a little too late to the party, and they would have been bigger if they'd came out 2 or 3 years earlier. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think Heartbreak Boulevard could have been bigger if it had come out in like 87, 88.
Yeah.
Lisa.
So yes, I've heard the album maybe only a couple of times all the way through. I know for a fact I've listened to the first album, the self-titled one, and definitely the third one many, many, many times. That's my absolute favorite. But the second one kind of lives in this fuzzy space where I know I've heard it, but I definitely wasn't listening to it over and over. I did see them at Axis in 92, again by accident when I knew the opening band. They were touring on this album at the time. But at the time I saw them, I had only heard the hits from the first album. So I knew nothing of the second album when I saw them touring on the second album. The thing I know obviously about this band is really what happened after the band, right? So we've actually seen Tim with Frontline Assembly, I think it was in 2023, playing with Ministry and Gary Newman. He was in that band for a minute.
Yep. I didn't know.
Yeah, you didn't know. I pointed about, actually, we went to the show and I said, I'm here to see Frontline Assembly. They were the opening act. Gary Newman was second and Ministry was third. I'd seen Ministry 40,000 times, and so I was dying to see Frontline Assembly. They were awesome. But then Gary Newman came on. And, oh my God.
He was also awesome.
He was incredible. And then I was torn, like, who did I like better? I don't know. But I've seen him a ton of times also with KMFDM, obviously. Yeah, but we're in that gray area with this album for me. I have lots of great memories of the band in general, and I'm a fan, obviously, mainly due to the use of their synth. Even in the second album, although it's not super heavy. But we get a nice mixture here, maybe of the initial glow of industrial before they go into that full industrial sound. So
cool. All right, let's do it. Let's break this album down. We've got 13 tracks, so let's get started. Track number 1, Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. So normally this title would be an automatic, I fucking hate this song. Like I wouldn't even listen to it. I'd be like, nope, I'm not going to listen to it, but I had to because we're doing this podcast. Strangely, I did not hate this song. In fact, I really like this song a lot. First off, great updated slick guitar sound and opening riff. Like this guy's like, you can tell this is like the 90s. This isn't the 80s anymore. This guy's got a really crisp, slick sound. Next, bass sound. Really, really great. And the guy's a good player. Drum machine, surprisingly, sounds heavy and loose here. I thought it was really good. And finally, the vocals are produced crystal clear on this album. I can hear fucking everything. The production, 100% on point on this album. It's really, really good. As for the song, it's really fun. I mean, we get a killer arrangement, and especially in the beginning, they lead you from the first verse into what you think is going to be the chorus. Like you're sure it's going to hit, and it doesn't. They bring you back into the verse again, and then they set up the chorus. And when you get it, you really, really want it. Chorus, super slick. Oh, I thought this chorus was killer. And again, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. How dare you? But it fucking worked here. I really liked it. Then we get this really technical guitar solo. I thought it ripped. This is a banger of an opening track. Really liked it. Dave.
A big guitar sound. I also like the singer's laid back style. The backup vocals in the chorus singing the title are super affected. I think a little too much on those backing vocals. It's an artistic choice, but I prefer to hear a little more natural vocal. Unfortunately, I thought the lyrics were pretty bad. I got what you're looking for, baby. I got what you need. I got everything and more. I got satisfaction guaranteed.
Yeah, it's a rhyme fest.
Come on.
It's a rhyme fest.
Very impressive guitar solo and good feel for an opening song. I would have liked some more creative lyrics and subject. And then, except for a few of the songs where it was one or the other of them, both Tim and Harry wrote all the songs except, of course, for the cover song coming up later.
So, Dave, I agree with you 100%. The lyric writing on this album is so remedial. It's unbelievable. Like, there's so many rhymes on this record. It's unforgivable. But it's so weirdly different that I just started to like it, even though I wanted to hate it. And the effect on that chorus, this is what makes this album not sound like an 80s hair metal album. It has this weird sort of new wave sound to it that I just thought was really slick and interesting. Lisa.
Sure.
I'm surprised Dave and I actually share a comment on this song. Amazing. Cool opening riff, very rock and roll, hence the title of this song. I like the deep voice for a glam album. He isn't forcing his voice up a register just, because he could to make his voice screechy. He's just keeping it in that nice register that he has. There's a lot of effects on his voice, but not too much. It comes through more metal than glam, maybe even leaning into a synth vocal already. The lyrics on the song are pure cheese, but it's strange. The delivery changes this maybe a little bit. I think maybe because his voice is so deep, I'm like forgiving that. I like the gang vocals in the chorus, but good God, are they just dripping in effects and not in a good way. Yep. It makes like the hook is really good, but like the effects made those gang vocals like sit backwards in the mix and you almost lose the hook because there's so much noise on top of it. Just that was a bad choice. I like, and actually you mentioned this vocal as kind of the bad lyrics in here, but I like the baby. I can't help it. I love it. Yeah. Great guitar solo here. Great guitar work on this entire song, this entire album. This guy's a shredder. I love the samples that are kind of playing behind the end of the guitar solo. The guitar solo kind of functions as a bridge. This is a pattern we're going to see in a lot of the songs. They don't do a lot of vocal bridges. They do musical bridges. But again, the samples, like we did White Zombie last episode, it's interesting to make a comparison. White Zombie's samples were the centerpiece of most of the songs. These are almost barely noticeable as you go through. It's just kind of the beginnings of an industrial sound on the album. We have a sample in the middle that just says, smoldering, took absolute possession of his body, classic example of demon possession. So I'm here for the satanic messages hidden in the songs. I couldn't find where that sample came from or if they just kind of created it for themselves. Kind of this like pre-electro music. We get a nice stick ending here. Hooray. And you actually said that you think the production is really great on this song. I was upset with the production because of what they did to those gang vocals. But, you have to remember, this is going to be an album that doesn't have $1 billion behind it for production and all that. And I think they did great with the money that they had. So
I can't. It's art and reality, though. This is a perfect example of art and reality, how everybody sees the world differently and hears music differently. Because for me, that without that effect on that chorus, it's not as good. It just sounds like old fashioned fucking half-ass hair metal. I thought it brought it into the 90s, 2000s new wave. I just thought it worked a lot. Like I really, and I didn't think the oversaturation of effect muddied those vocals up at all. I could hear them so in my face. I didn't think it was a problem at all. Okay, Red Hot. So again, I saw the title and I rolled my eyes because again, I have seen this title before. Yep. But here's the thing: this isn't hair metal. This is something else, and I'm liking it at this point. And vocally, Tim is giving me so many different ideas here. Even though he's not a great singer, I can tell he's experimenting and he's trying to find his thing. And it's cool because I came into this thinking I was just going to hear a shitty hair metal album. And it's not that. It's something different. I'm not saying I like what it is necessarily, but it's different. We get another great arrangement here. I love the arrangements here with this little bridge they do leading into the chorus. And I'm calling it a bridge, this little fucking vocal thing they do. Really, really catchy. It's incredible. I fucking really liked it. The chorus, it's an easy chorus. It's not overwritten. It's not great lyrics. It's easy, but it works. And with a bridge this strong, it doesn't have to be a great chorus because the two of them together almost work as a chorus. Really great. I love the spoken word section. I know fucking Lisa did too. And,
good call.
And finally, another killer solo. The guy is ripping. This is another banger, 2 out of the gate. Dave.
Well, we get a little VH phaser guitar action to open the song, reminiscent of Atomic Punk. Production is pretty modern for the time. All the instruments are easy to hear. Bass is a little clickier than I usually like. Not sure about the sampled cowbell in the verse going the whole time. It's a little distracting. The pre-chorus, which may be what you're talking about, where they sing "New Crime of Passion," that's better than the real chorus. Like that should be the chorus right there because it's interesting and it's good melodically. The spoken part before the guitar solo is cool and a little unusual, I think, for the time. Harry plays a repeating lick throughout the song. That's pretty cool. This one was released in 1991 as a promo single, including an edited version with the rap section cut out for time.
I like that rap section.
And I suppose, profanity.
Yeah, right.
So radio stations would have their choice.
Talk about it.
Okay, so obviously Red Hot, as you said, the first thing I thought was, isn't that a Motley Crue song? And I was hoping it wasn't a cover. It's not, obviously, but that was from Shout of the Devil, so that would have been many years before this album came out. The opening is okay. We get a slower tempo for the song here, maybe trying for like a sexy beat or something like that. So much cowbell. You will never need to say on this song, we need more cowbell. There is so much cowbell on this song.
Too much.
It is, and you said it is synth cowbell as well. It's not an actual cowbell.
I'm assuming.
No, it is.
It sounded like a
definitely.
Synth.
Yeah.
Just keyboard, dunk.
I actually liked it, but like it was just enough, right? Like if any more would have been too much. The chorus comes in and we get this great vocal tone. And you guys were calling it a bridge. I think it's a pre-chorus because it comes before every one of the chorus pieces with slightly different lyrics.
That's what I called it.
Yeah, pre-chorus. So I think in the pre-chorus, he might be reaching for a few notes out of his range. They go pretty high in the pre-chorus, but it actually is working fine because he has this grit in his voice that like, even when he tries to hit a high note, the grit erases anything like, oh, he didn't miss that note. It was, gritty. So it's good.
Agreed.
Maybe he's a smoker. Not sure. When the chorus comes in, the song brightens up a bit, almost becomes like a happier tone. We get more gang vocals, thankfully this time with less effects. I think it works a little bit better with a good hook. He hits some serious low notes in this song, especially on the spoken word part, which I absolutely love. We don't talk about this much in the glam world, but like a low voice is quite a skill, just the same way that a high voice is, right? A little bit of Peter Steele vibes in there. So of course I'm going to like that part. Nice.
Hey, Lisa, do you want to go for a soda later?
There you go. Perfect.
Dairy Queen.
Nice guitar work around the spoken word section and into the solo. There's this nice effect where he's sustaining this trill on the guitar. I don't know if you heard this, and it pans from right to left through the speakers, almost like it's circling around you. It's like super cool. I think I like this song particularly because of the deep vocals and the liberal use of cowbell. And we get another great stick ending. I can't say I remember this song from back in the day, though.
Yeah. It's a good one, though. I enjoyed it. I don't know if I've been calling my pre-choruses bridges for the last 100 episodes. I don't know. That's how I describe it. I mean, I write music by myself, so I know what I'm talking about. Okay, number 3, Nobody's Home. Another great opening guitar riff. I like this guy's riffs. I mean, again, this isn't my cup of tea, but for what he's doing, I'm enjoying all of it. And we get the same formula as the last song. We get this great pre-chorus into another easy chorus that just works. So it's the exact same formula. Pre-chorus is better than the chorus, but together they work really great. It's just one big hook. Again, we get another killer guitar solo. Like I said, it's not really my cup of tea. I would rather be listening to like Slash play off this album, but whatever. He's very, very talented. I'm enjoying his impressive guitar licks. And finally, I really like the end of the song. This band knows how to arrange a song, at least for the first 7 songs, and then suddenly they can't arrange the song anymore. So I don't know what happens, but Dave, talk about it.
Yeah, we get some phone sounds to start the song. I feel like that's been done before. The band does sound pretty rockin' when it kicks in. Is it Steel Panther? It sounds a lot like a Steel Panther song.
Yep.
The cowbell is back, but here it's tucked into the mix and playing a normal pattern here, so it's much, much better. Little vocal harmony showing up on the chorus of this one. I like that. Another great guitar solo with just a little shredding at the very end. But the lyrics are pretty bland until we get to the very final outro where he jumbles it up and makes it a little more creative.
Dave,
Yep.
it actually sounds like a Steel Panther song, like an in particular Steel Panther song, right?
I couldn't put my finger on which one, but
Yeah.
but it just like I totally got that vibe.
Me too, 100%, 100%. I was like, oh, it's Steel Panther song.
Yeah.
Lisa,
How did I miss that?
I don't
Oh
know.
my
It
goodness.
just
Listen.
something about the
Yeah.
production and the riff and
Okay.
yes,
just very, very
part of
slick
the song.
and big.
All right.
Yeah.
So you have a nice sleazy opening. The lyrics of this song, maybe some over the top cheese rhyming. The sleaze format of the song makes this really obvious too. But hey, I like some cheese sometimes. I really do love the pre-chorus. There's the line, "I would go insane if I had a brain," and then the next pre-chorus with the same exact melody is "Me, I'm just like you, I don't have a clue." It's like super cool. Love that. That's probably my favorite part of the song. Same formula chorus here without the gang vocals. Vocals are still layered and heavily affected though at this point. This song in particular, and actually maybe some of the other songs in the album too, definitely sound like there's 2 guitars playing. We have a rhythm guitar for sure, and we have somebody playing licks and solos and somebody else. I mean, I'm sure it's him on both.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely
Yeah.
layered up a lot of
Yeah.
his guitars or
Yeah.
doubled his parts and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Maybe that was the Steel Panther feeling from it. I don't know. I didn't get that. That's the thing.
It was the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the bridge where the music gets really affected and fuzzy. I don't think I like that too much, but the talk rapping at the end is kind of the precursor to what I think the industrial style that they were going into, and I absolutely love that. I don't know that it totally fits this kind of sleaze style we have here, but I still love it. Song is fine. It's not my favorite, but it's not the worst either. So
I liked it a lot. This album comes in and out of focus on what it's going to be
Yeah.
a lot. Speaking of that, track number 4, Living Without You. So this is a weird take on a traditional 80s power ballad with this kind of alternative pop flavor that I thought was delicious. I liked it a lot. His vocals, not smooth at all, not pretty at all. They're raw, they're strange, they're a little bit off in a good way. I really enjoyed this song a lot. I thought the chorus was really, really good. I mean, this is like Every Rose Has Its Thorn, but it's not. And that's what was so cool about it. I was like, I've heard this song 1,000 times, but I've never heard it done like this. The solo, I mean, it felt like he was kind of going for what CeCe DeVille did, like on Every Rose or I Won't Forget You or something like that. But I mean, it's nice. The guy can fucking play. I mean, he's not going to play you a bad solo because he's fucking super talented. So overall, I thought this was a really cool play on an 80s fucking hair metal power ballad. Dave.
Ballad time. I'm reminded of Wild Angels by Pretty Boy Floyd, Every Rose Has Its Thorn by Poison, and I Remember You by Skid Row in the first 10 seconds. that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. The singer's super relaxed delivery doesn't really fit here. But the chorus is very good. I love the lyrics. If there's a tear in my eye, it's not for you. Don't flatter yourself. If there's a tear in my eye, it's not for you. That's really, really good. But the rest of the lyrics to me were kind of junior high school.
Wicked.
Pretty tasty guitar solo though. I really liked what he did with the song. This guy got Harry got a fair amount of attention when they came out, but he really should have gotten more notice for his great playing.
I mean, Dave, if you can't get past like I said, the remedial lyrics and all the rhyming on this, then you're just not going to be able to enjoy this album. Yeah. I hated it the first couple of times. I made peace with it. I said, you know what? Just, it is what it is. Either enjoy it or don't, but you can't hold it to a standard because it's not there. Okay. It's just not there. These guys were like, they'd write a line, it rhymed. And you're like, yep, that's it. Let's move on. Lisa.
Good.
Okay. So we have a obligatory power ballad here. I'm pretty sure I've heard this acoustic piece before. The scratchy quality of his voice is fine. It sounds a little bit punk, which I kind of like. I half of me feels like a sweeter tone would have made this song like a more standard power ballad, but the other half of me thinks that I'm glad that he didn't have a sweeter tone, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. When the electric portion of music comes in after the acoustic portion, the vocals are like fit in like a glove. It's just amazing. I think for me, they chose to follow this formula that was working in 89 and maybe had run its course by 91. We have a solo that I thought was this Skid Row solo from I'll Remember You.
Oh, it's that one lick is in there, the fall down.
It's the same thing. I was like, oh my God, is Dave and Scotty's lick is like kind of just in there.
Yep.
He was able to play it though with some great emotion, and there was nothing wrong with the solo. This guy's a great guitarist. I liked it, and so I'm gonna pose a theory here, and there's nothing that says that this is true at all, but I'm going to pose a theory here. Yeah.
I love it.
So their first album came out in Sweden in 88, which would have meant that they were writing this before that, 85, 86, 87, right?
Yep.
When they came to America, this would have been the time period that they would have been writing their second album, but instead they were remastering their first album and re-releasing it. So I pose that they were writing this song in 88, 89 when it would have fit beautifully into the fabric of what was happening at the time. But they didn't get to release it until their second album in 91, where maybe that time had already passed and it was a couple years late. So that's my theory of what actually happened. I have absolutely zero proof that that's true. So don't quote me on that.
It sounds true.
There is a video for this song. I saw Ricky Rackman introduce it on Headbangers Ball. They did a small interview with Tim and with Harry on there, and you could see just by how they looked. Harry was already shaved head with the industrial style hair, and they had already moved on. You could see it, but they were pushing this album and they were doing what they needed to do. And the video is suspiciously like all of the other earlier power ballad videos. We have a beautiful brunette girl who he's apparently singing about or two. We have shots of the band playing, looking so much like Skid Row. I actually thought I saw Rachel Bolan in the video, but it wasn't him. Tim looked facially and hair pretty much like Sebastian Bach, and the way that they lit the video and showed his hair was an almost identical copy of that. This is where we would see him in flannel and jeans, though. I didn't really like that look. I would have liked something a little more rock and roll. There's shots of him from above in a bed with an acoustic guitar. You can see that their look, it's not glam. It's not industrial yet. It's half grunge. I don't know. It was a strange mix, but I like the song and the video is pretty cool. But again, I feel like they wrote this years before and they didn't get it out when it needed to come out. So
yeah, the problem with it is when you hear it, you immediately think of Skid Row's power ballad. Every rose has its thorn, and this guy's vocals just did not lend itself to that. The verse specifically, the way he sang the verses, it was never going to compete with those songs. He's just not a good enough singer. But
But
that's
I
why.
don't think he was trying to compete with it, though. I
No,
kind of, yeah.
yeah, no,
So,
absolutely. That's what I like about the song. If it had
yeah,
just been a guy that could sing like Bret Michaels doing it, it would have just been a worse version of Every Rose Has Its Thorn.
right.
So I'm glad he did what he did.
I am too. Yeah.
Okay. Track number 5, Heartbreak Boulevard. This is my favorite track on the album. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
Yeah, right. It should be obvious. It just is. It's a fucking great song. I fucking love this song, period. It's killer. The weird setup to the chorus with the string scratch. It's fucking so dynamic. And it leads into this huge, catchy chorus. My only knock on this song would be I'd take out the na 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 na. I'd take those out and
Oh
I'd either
no.
let that just be, let the music breathe there, or I would write some cool lyrics. I'm not a na na guy.
Oh no.
I think they specifically wanted to put, I was reading somewhere on one of the interviews that like they had that piece they wanted to do and they, like shoved it into that song because they wanted to use that.
They wanted the nanas that bad?
Yes.
I hated the nanas. I didn't hate it. No, I didn't hate the nanas. I didn't hate the nanas, but I just thought that there was a more clever idea that could have gone there, or just let the music breathe, one way or the other. Another greasy guitar solo here, really great, and a great video. Singer Tim, he looked the best he ever looked in this video. He's got the tight braids. He looks so like just so 90s grunge, but like in a pretty glam way. It was a fun look. I enjoyed it. Dave.
Right. I'm going to start off by talking about the video. The video was fine for the time, I guess. It's the band playing in a basement, lit up by random flashlights and filmed at strange angles. It worked for the time with the grunge influence just starting to come in. It looks like a Alice in Chains video or some shit. The guitar player has his, weird haircut with part of his head shaved, and he's playing a Les Paul Jr., which I thought was cool. I'm assuming in tribute to Johnny Thunders. So that was an interesting departure, because you would assume he's usually playing, a shredder guitar, an Ibanez or something like that. So the song was released in 1991 as a promo single. The cover artwork was the same as the full album, but the spine read Heartbreak Boulevard, and back cover indicates that it's the only track on the CD. It was not a commercial single and didn't have a barcode. And according to musicvf.com, the song did debut on Billboard's Rock Tracks chart in November 1992 and reached a peak position of number 46.
Cool.
Here's the info about the picks. The scratching sound in the song was accomplished with the copper metal picks that Harry Cody used. He preferred a thinner pick, and the metal material allowed him to create sounds not possible with plastic, according to Harry in interviews. As far as the song, I thought it had a good riff and a good chorus. Tim's energy works for this song. It sounds good when he's laid back, and he does crank up the intensity when it's needed. A massive bass tone. The guitar solo is cool. Even cooler than is the guitar sort of melody played behind the last chorus, and only the last chorus I checked.
Yeah,
so if you haven't noticed, go back and listen.
The magic I think that they caught on the first song and this song, if they could have made a whole album with this formula and having Tim sing in this register exactly like this, they've got a hit album on their hands, but he just kind of came in and out of focus. They couldn't keep it dialed in. Lisa.
So this obviously was their big hit, and it's actually to this day their highest streamed song of all time. It's also the one I remember probably even more than anything off the first album or even anything off the third album, to be fair. Great song name, by the way. On this song, the vocals are really perfect. He has that perfect grit to deliver kind of this rock glam sound. The production of the vocals is also great. There's still some effects going on, even on the gang vocals in the pre-chorus, but everything is so much cleaner and definitely like radio ready, I would say. My only criticism is when they deliver the hooks with the gang vocals, it's too far back in the mix and should have been moved a little bit forward. Great hook, though. Chorus is a little more dynamic in this song with some varying lyrics. It's a pretty classic arrangement, which is why I think it worked really well for radio play. We get a spoken word bridge, which fits beautifully into the song, and I love the nanas.
Oh no!
Yeah. I love the guitar effects before the chorus, which I believe is that copper pick dragging going on. We get just enough cowbell. We get a bass run to start the guitar solo, which is kind of perfect for this song. Just shreddy enough with some emotion and great movement, bent notes. Not doing too much, not doing not enough. With nice isolated vocal ending. This is just a great song all around. Obviously, this one, as Dave said, does have a video. It got regular rotation on MTV Headbangers Ball. Their look in the video was more metal than glam, and the haircut was awesome, David. It's not weird. It is an industrial style haircut.
Yeah, I'm going to go get that haircut. We'll see how much you like it.
So cool. I would love that. Oh my God. The dark videos of the band, they look suspiciously industrial in their look. Definitely a shift from the previous video. We have like a fisheye lens shot, I think, in some parts, which brings in, and you said Alice in Chains. I'm going to say, yeah, coming into the grunge movement.
Yeah, it just had that look to it.
It did. Yeah, yeah. Again, no audience for the performance, so there's no live shots, no storyline, maybe a bit low budget. There are some other glam remnants in the video, though. Shirtless men with leather pants, guitarist looking majorly cool, possibly the coolest one in the video. Industrial metal hair is awesome.
His coolness all comes from the Johnny Thunders Les Paul Jr.
A little from that too. It is interesting for me to see Tim Skold in this video with the glam blonde hair, and how everybody else had kind of moved their look onto industrial already, and he hadn't yet. But if you see him today, he's the most industrial looking one of all of them. So he really did a drastic shift.
So it was a shirtless man with metal hair. Oh, God. Okay. Track number 6, I Want More. So I like the flavor of this intro. It had like an interesting feel to it. When the vocals come in, I thought they were pretty cool. And for this one, I found every melody he used in every section to be very catchy, which is weird because traditionally this guy does not have a great voice, and I normally would not like this, but it was just good. He just had some great melodies going on here. The lyrics, again, unforgivably rhymey. Everything rhymes. But for unknown reasons to me, it worked. I liked it. I liked the song. I liked it a lot. And I actually said to myself, I wrote it in the notes, what the fuck? I thought I hated this album. And again, more interesting guitar work with another solid arrangement on this song. I really enjoyed it a lot. Dave.
Yeah, this one was written alone by guitarist Harry Cody. I thought it was kind of a slow burn opening. The verses are cool with the guitar riff and the open space lyrics. I thought the chorus could use some spicing up, but good song, and it kind of sticks with you a little bit. So
yeah, it was kind of, again, Dave, there wasn't any one huge banger hook moment in the song, but like verse, pre-chorus, or bridge, whatever, a chorus, they were all catchy in their own right. So as a body of work, I thought the song was just overall catchy. Yeah. Lisa.
Slower tempo song to start. Doesn't sound like any of the other songs. We're getting very varied music across this album. Nice metal intro to the vocals. When the verse starts, though, the music gets very thin. It's mostly percussion with an occasional guitar chord, and the vocals get a little lost behind this. It's funny because they're not using much effects on the vocals here, and this is the point where the vocals get lost, which I think is strange. Lyrics on this one are okay, not letting life slip away before you get too old to enjoy it. Good guitar solo again. I'm never going to not say this on this album. So much feeling. Yeah. And the guy has control, so he doesn't ever get too shreddy. It seems to work nicely with those musical interludes and musical bridges that they sprinkle through the song. We get an interesting play out on this song. It's a not a stick ending on this one. It's kind of a fade out, but they're not hiding a guitar solo in the fade out, which is good because I'm always angry when they hide it and then they turn it down and I'm like, I can't hear it anymore. It's more like just a natural ending. So pretty good.
Yeah, this guy never gets sloppy. He never fubs a note. He never gets pitchy or tony. Like he is like, if you saw the tabs on this, I'm sure it's like exact. It's like he's nailing it. He's really, really technically strong. And speaking of different variations of music from song to song, here we go. Track number 7, Trouble. Um, this for me, I really loved it. I love this kind of new wave style this track brought. It did not sound like anything else on the album. It did not sound like hair metal. It literally sounded like new wave to me. Totally different. Has all these great little effects added. It has little audio inserts and cool lyrics. It's not super catchy as a song overall. It's just kind of cool and interesting, but it keeps the album sounding fresh for me, and it kept me guessing for the next track. Unfortunately, this is the end of the good review. It's going to get ugly going forward. Dave.
The riff right off the bat sounds like, the Money, Money, Money song. Too many vocal tracks and effects, trading off between lead and backup vocals. For me, it sounded much too put together. The music is fine. It needs a better song on top of it. Wicked wah-wah guitar solo. And then I wonder, could this guy at the time, talking about Harry Cody on guitar, could he have given Nuno a run for his money at the time? We know Nuno's got the talent, and he can sing and write songs, and he's had a great career. So maybe in the long run, we know who wins, but at the time, who knows? The panning of the guitar from speaker to speaker at the end of the song was kind of too much for me. I didn't really like the song, and it needed a better hook.
Dave, the comparison between the two guitar players, I think as good as this guy is, if you listen to something like Do You Want to Play, I think Nuno is on the next level above this guy. But this guy is...
maybe if Harry had an especially good day, on that one day, but I know Nuno's probably a little...
These guys are in the same conversation, and they could like hang out in a bathhouse with a couple of electric guitars and probably swap riffs and whatever. So
don't bring your guitar into a bathhouse.
That would be murder on your string action.
You get a shock.
So we get a sample to open the song. Very industrial sound, and the pick dragging is a lot like what we heard with White Zombie. It ends immediately when the song comes in, which turns into just basically pure glam. This song sounds a little like Extreme, with the funky guitar licks in between the lyrics, and are so Nuno. Even the lyrics themselves are very much deranged, like early Extreme, and maybe closer to that first album. They sort of have two hooks in this song. We have the "You're in Trouble" in the verse, and we have the over the top in the chorus. It's a funky, catchy song. When the guitar solo comes in, it doesn't feel like the guitar solo was merged in with the production very well, kind of like they cut and pasted it on top of the music, almost like it's not even in the same ballpark as the rest of the music, which is a little uncomfortable. But the guitar solo is so good, like I want to forgive it a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, there's also you have like I said, it's a fine solo, but there's so many licks throughout this song that it's almost one of those cases where you had a solo through the whole song already. So
it's busy.
Yeah, there's a second solo, which is fantastic, which is perfectly merged into the production, which is strange because the first one is just like I don't know where it came from, and the second one is beautifully merged in. Now it's kind of during the play out of the song, and I want more of that one. And of course, they faded out.
Little fade out, nothing wrong with that. All right, so that ends side A. At the 2-hour mark, you guys buy a fucking mug and a t-shirt. You're getting a lot of content here, okay? So we're going to go to Should They Have Made It, the segment. And I chose the Ultras Galactic Kid. I also asked you guys to listen to Charged. A great album. I love this band. I love this singer, Alice, and the guitar player. Unfortunately, from what I understand, Alice is no longer with us. He passed away a few years ago. I was so into this singer for a while because, again, man, these are basically kids. These are kids on the Hollywood Strip. This is next level writing, next level recording for what was going on. I mean, go listen to some of these other strip bands from the day. It's fucking not this, okay? This is polished up. It's really good. This kid, Alice, was a fucking really good singer. He went on to play with some other Hollywood strip bands, Stars from Mars. We'll get into that, I'm sure, on this segment in the future. He ended up going to, and it's been so long since I did a deep dive on him. It's been so long since I did this. I can't remember all the facts, but I think he went to New York at one point, or Florida. It might've been New York. And he ended up hooking up with a bass player that played for a big band like Marilyn Manson. It wasn't Twiggy, obviously, but it was
I have the facts for you, Des.
Oh,
don't worry.
no. Well, then let me stop right there and just say this then. This band is kick-ass. They definitely should have made it. And this song is 100 watts all day long. You guys see the look on Dave's face? It looked like I just punched him in the stomach. He literally just spit his gum out. Dave, go ahead. Talk about it.
Well, I found a copy of this video on a YouTube channel. That it's got to be somebody we know.
It is. Yes.
The video quality is really rough. To me, the singer sounds like a combination of Steve Sex Summers and David Bowie. Based on the comments, it looked like he passed away at some point, which we talked about. Alistar Liddell, or Alice. Guitar is okay for me, pretty basic. You know, they're mostly showing the singer and the guitar player in the video, but, you know, isn't that the most important part of the band? So on another channel, I found the copy of the same video, and according to the description on there, the Galactic Kid music video was filmed on a Hollywood Boulevard rooftop around the Wilcox neighborhood in front of a huge neon red and white Coca-Cola sign that was on the roof at the time. You cannot tell because the video quality is so bad. Somebody's got to have a better copy of this. But I didn't like the song. Sorry. These guys, I don't think they had what it takes to make it. I'm giving it a 51.4.
Wow.
Also in my notes was to listen to Charged. I'm hearing a lot of Bowie influence, which is cool, but don't like that one either. Sorry.
To the heart.
Okay. It hurts. Lisa.
Okay, so obviously I already knew who this band was. As our friend group, we're big fans of this band. As Dave said, the most accessible video of this song is on the YouTube channel Stars Underground, which is a local Boston band with some of our friends. Chris, Greg, and Sean from the band Never on Sunday, which was an LA band, and their singer Ronnie John posted the video. The Ultras, there was actually multiple bands named the Ultras. Is there a trend here?
San Francisco.
Yeah.
They were also in Stars Underground too.
Yeah, they were also in Stars. Well, Stars Underground is the name of the channel. So yeah.
But that was also a band.
It was also a band. Yep. So the other bands, the other Ultras band, there was a version from England, which was a a British pop band. One from San Francisco, and also the one that we're talking about. So the song is on an EP called Handbook of Songwriting, which was the band was originally called the Ultraviolets before shortening the name. We did lose Alistar Liddell was the stage name. He passed in 2014, unfortunately. Part of the big, tight Hollywood scene at the time. He played in a band called the Dropouts, which later changed to the Firecracker Drugstore. His real name, Anthony Tabuada. He's also the singer from Stars from Mars, which was another band of similar style. And as Des mentioned, the Dallygaggers, which was a
Dallygaggers. There it is.
Yes, with Gidget Gain from Marilyn Manson.
Gidget. Lisa, you are on top of it.
On the case.
On the case.
On the case. A really big loss of Anthony, also known as Alistar. He was a cool avant-garde artist, post-punk, glam punk leanings. This song brings me back to a very particular time in my life. I remember all the bands doing it, including some Boston bands. It was like glam punk mixed with Bowie, mixed with Hanoi Rocks. I think if Razzle had not been murdered, then Hanoi Rocks would have been a lot bigger than they were. But that's just a side note there.
You can't prove that, Rusty.
Yeah. Yeah. So we had guys wearing the pirate shirts with tons of makeup and lots of sequins, very androgynous look, maybe even feminine leaning, if you want to say that, maybe
Oh, yeah.
not even androgynous fashion. I loved them so much. I still love them today. I love this song. I love the gloomy minor chords. I love the guitar riff, the hook, the descending notes after the hook. I love the vocal tone. Even in the live video you can understand every word. Even in the demo recording you can understand every word. I love the whiny edge to his voice. I love the low slung guitars and the leather. Everything about this is so perfect. They definitely should have made it. I wish there were more bands like it. I'm giving them a 96.8.
Yeah, dude. That some of the words, the doctor puts the pill on his tongue, but he always spits it right out. That's just this kid writes great fucking lyrics.
Yep.
There's another video he does. There's a live video of this band like recording in a soundstage or something in Hollywood. They do a song called "The Postman." I fucking love it. I love this band. Lisa, add it up and tell us what this sucker is pumping out.
Okay, and also so I'm saying they should have made it. You Dev said they should have made it. Dave said no, right? So we have a yes on that.
Hell yeah.
Okay. All right. So on the Violent Vinyl, should they have made it chart? We have, where did they end up? I don't see them on. We need some music. We need some.
This is going to be a big score with me and Lisa. It's going to be a big score.
Yeah. Okay. So they ended up at number 2 on the chart with an 82.73, just under the Zeros' Love's Not Fair.
Cool. I also just want to, in case Dominic or anybody from Stars from Mars are listening, Dominic Copeland was actually the singer of Stars from Mars, and he co-sang with Alice when Alice came over later in the Stars from Mars projects. There you go. So Dominic Copeland.
Cool.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Oh boy. Jesus. Can we just say the rest of this album sucked? They score it? Okay.
Nope.
Track number 8, Ride the Storm. Okay. So warning, side B is not even as close to as good as side A. This is the first hole in the album for me. I don't think this works for this album or this band. I did not like the lyrics at all. This is just too much rhyming for me. And overall, the song just didn't work, right down to the guitar solo, which is the first one I didn't enjoy on the album. This is a hard pass for me, Dave.
This is one of my favorite songs on the album.
Mark, and I love it. I love it.
Unfortunately, I do have one slam at the very beginning. It sounds a lot like Cinderella Night songs. But once the song kicks in for real, it's pretty cool. Dark, spooky vibe. You know, it's like totally different than any other song on the album. It's almost kind of gothy. You know, cool solo over the key change. I really like this one.
I think Dave doesn't know what gothy means.
I didn't hear it. Lisa, talk about how goth this isn't.
Leave me alone.
Okay, we have a really odd synth opening that is extremely early 80s soundtrack worthy. I had to remind myself that this album was released in 91. It's strange to me that the synth is so dated in this song because it's coming from people who would end up being really the epitome of synth in just a couple years. So I was actually kind of shocked about that. You know, they go on to be the masters of all of this, of metal synth. So I don't know what happened here. The song sounds dated. Production is too muted. The vocals aren't clean enough for the ballad style it's going for. The lyrics are a little thin and generic for the story. The highlight here is by far the guitar solo. Beautiful guitar work. Another kind of Nuno tribute that we've got here. A lot of feeling and flow, but the song really pales around this solo. Maybe this guitarist needed his own solo album also. This one is not one of my favorites, but it's fine.
All right, track. I can't believe, like I said, art and interpretation, man, is so like goes from person to person. I couldn't have hated it more. Dave thought it was one of the best songs on the album. I love it.
And I was like, it's okay.
I'm like, I hated the solo. Dave's like, great solo. So there you go. Track number 9, I Want to Know. I didn't want to know. I didn't love this song, and I didn't hate this song. This one for me was just, it was okay. But I did have some thoughts on this guitar solo. Okay, it's really good. This is a banging guitar solo. Really, the song feels like his guitar solo, like if you were seeing them live in concert. Like that's what this was on the album. He's like, "Can I just go?" And they're like, "Just go, dude." I did like the ending too. It kind of devolves into this cool little sitar India jam thing. It was interesting. I thought it was pretty cool. Dave, what'd you think?
This one was written alone by singer Tim Skold. Feel and riff are very dated to that time. Not a fan of the lyrics either. Curious, since Tim was the former bassist, that of having the bass so heavy and featured in the verse was his idea or somebody else's idea. Sitar solo before the regular guitar solo. Why is this one called I Want to Know when they repeat Love Will Make Us Strong 850 goddamn times in the song? That's a much more obvious title. Song fades out to more sitar and percussion that I'm supposing is the, quote, silly percussion credited to producer Pat Regan, or Regan, however you say his name.
I like when they get weird on this album. It just works for me. Lisa.
The first two lines are delivered with perfect vocal balance, and I want to hear this on every song on this album. Oh my God. They do go back and forth between the vocals, so they do resurrect this vocal tone, which I think is great. We do have a more generic glam pop sound with the affected vocals for much of the song, though. Lyrics are 80s cheese. Delivery doesn't really help this. The bridge on the song is great, though, and perfectly breaks up the song before the solo. But then there's some weird, like, blues guitar effects, like a banjo or something. It's synth, but I'm not really sure what it was supposed to be. The chorus isn't super catchy. In fact, the hook is in this is not really the song name, right? It's something else, which I think Dave just mentioned. The layered echo vocals in the playout are not so great. This song seemed like they threw a bunch of stuff in a pot, different ideas, and stirred it up, hoping to fit it all together. Individually, each of the things are pretty great. I don't know that they necessarily work all together. I love the darker vocals, though, in this song, and I don't mind the poppy arrangement too much. The bridge is great, but that synth banjo and the synth bongos just have to go.
It's a sitar. That's a banjo, she says. It's like some kid with no teeth on a porch. Track number 10, Babble Off.
Well, remember that Harry Cody did play banjo on Tom Waits' album, so
yeah, I mean, Deliverance.
So he had one for sure.
He had one.
Yeah, fun fact, this is the kid from Deliverance. He played on this. Track number 10, Babylon. I thought this track was okay because they're going back to doing like different stuff again. Ted is doing weird things with his voice. It's a rocker with another good guitar solo. It's just okay. There's nothing special here. Like, it's just really from here on out, it's okay. And like, not really. Dave.
This is a cover of a New York Dolls song off their second album, Too Much Too Soon. It is the opening. Oh yeah, it's the opening track, in fact, on that album. Released in 1974 and written by David Johansen and Johnny Thunders. The sound is much more modernized over the Dolls version, but also pretty stiff feel-wise compared to the original. Anyway, it's good to see some tribute and respect to the New York Dolls pretty early on. Most people didn't seem to start talking about them and shouting them out until later on in the 90s.
Did you catch that as a cover tune before doing research, Dave?
It says it right in the Wikipedia that at least it was written by David Johansen and Johnny Thunders, but
I didn't recognize
I knew the song.
Okay, I didn't recognize it. I'm ashamed. I'm sorry. Lisa, go.
So I did read that it was a cover, but my first thought when I saw the name is not New York Dolls, it's Faster Pussycat, right? So here's the thing. It's like they took the New York Dolls song and they tried to make it into a Faster Pussycat version cover of the song. Like, he even changes his voice to sound like Tammy's. Did you catch that at all? No? So the singer doesn't have Tammy's vocal ability for the delivery of the song, right? So it kind of makes it drag a little bit. The guitar solo feels like an attempt at a Tracy Gunn solo. Did you catch that? Yeah.
I
mean,
hear
because, Tracy
Yeah.
Guns makes attempts at Johnny Thunder's solo.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It just goes right down the line.
Okay, that's fair.
Come
That's
on.
fair.
But
Yeah.
now I want to hear Faster Pussycat play.
Right?
Ba-
I would love to hear
Babylon by
Faster
the New York
Pussycat play
Dolls.
this. Yeah. So the thing is that this guitarist has his own style. He doesn't need to try to copy anyone else. So like that, maybe that makes me.
It was a
feel little
good
weird,
solo,
but-
though. It was a
yeah.
good
Oh, it was
solo.
a great solo. Yeah. So the spoken word part after the solo is really a failed attempt at Tammy's magic and is kind of the low point of the song for me. To be fair, I'm being very hard on this, mainly because first of all, it's a cover and it maybe missed the mark on that. And second of all, they did it in Faster Pussycat style, maybe missing the mark on that. The band has their own sound. They don't need to emulate anyone else. And they could have taken this song and made it in Shotgun Messiah style, and it would have been killer.
Yeah.
So
They were developing a style. I think they were developing a style. It doesn't feel like it ever really came into focus here. They were like, this sounds cool, like Heartbreak Boulevard. Well, this sounds cool, but it kind of isn't that. So I'm hearing a lot of different ideas on this. Free, track number 11. So I'm not sure about this track. Like every track on the album, the production is really good. But the arrangement is so drawn out and boring, especially with the lack of hooks. There's no fucking hooks here. There's no hooks on the second half of this album. I did like some of the vocal choices that Tim made. He does this low harmony in the verses, which is pretty interesting because he's already got a low voice and he doesn't harmonize with himself, above. He chose to go below, but it works. I mean, it's a good, strong harmony, and I thought it was pretty cool. But at the end of the day, this one just needed more time in the oven. It's forgettable. I didn't love it. Dave.
This song was written alone by guitarist Harry Cody. In that interview I mentioned before from vinylwritermusic.wordpress.com, Harry Cody says this about the drums on this album. Styx played the drums, but he had triggers on the drum heads, and we ran that to samplers so that the kick is as he performed it, but the sound was added later. Same thing with the snare. The hi-hats and the crashes were the only things that were real. What you're hearing is what he played, but everything else is triggered after the fact. So on something like Free, when you listen to the drums, I think the snare lags a little bit. It used to bother me more than it does now, but it was definitely not how he intended it. And it's not a slight on Styx's performance whatsoever. He was tight as ever. It's just technical delays on triggers that cause it to sound a little looser. Just the electronic milliseconds of the triggering the sampler and getting to the tape machine. Here's another song where the pre-chorus has a better hook than the main chorus. The main chorus feels like it doesn't flow enough melodically to me. The song is fine. It's a little generic, and I could see this on a soundtrack to, like a Bill and Ted's movie.
It's so interesting with the trigger thing, huh?
Yeah.
That millisecond, caused it to just be slightly janky.
But I was really listening for that in the song, and it didn't bother me.
No, I didn't hear it.
So, I don't know what.
But it's interesting. It's just an interesting concept thinking about it, now. Lisa.
what's with all the low tempo songs on this side of the album? My
This side of the
goodness.
album sucks ass.
So this appears to be a White Lion copy. Am I wrong about that?
What?
Oh, no.
Oh my god,
What?
yeah. He did the vocals, he did the emotional vocals of Mike Tramp, he did the sweeter voice, which I didn't think he had that sweeter voice. The lyrics appear to be about being in love and feeling high about it, but they're very thin. The guitar solo is nice. It follows Vito Bratta, really, with maybe an Eddie Van Halen edge,
Yep.
but Vito was doing Eddie Van Halen, to be fair. The guitarist is great at kind of doing other people's songs, but he had his own song again, his own sound again. But like, I wish he was doing his own sound a little more. Not much of a hook here. They keep repeating the word free over and over again, but it's not sticking for me. I don't really like this one that much, mainly because it's a blatant copy of White Lion.
Oh,
So
don't copy, kids. Don't copy White Lion, okay?
I mean,
Ever.
It's your
y-
public service announcement.
when you hear songs like this where there's an obvious emulation of something, you could say, okay, would I like this song if White Lion never existed? And even then, no, I wouldn't.
Yeah, the answer is still no.
Yeah.
Track number 12, You, Me, and Dupree. Good movie. Go check it out. Just you and me. So I keep getting little Nuno Betancourt vibes, and this is where I think it hit me the most. I was like, oh man, this is really Nuno-esque. As for the song, it's like all the other songs on side two. They're okay, but they lack any hooks. The arrangements have completely fallen apart and gotten dragged out because there's no hooks to make these long arrangements interesting, making me want to listen to them. And this was the first song that the drum machine grinded on me. It sounded like fucking shit. These fucking drum fills that they're doing. I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm tapping here. Thank God there was only one song left to listen to. Dave.
Yeah, I went back and listened to that last song, and I didn't hear the white line thing before, but Lisa, you're right.
I'm right.
I totally heard it.
I told you.
Anyway, so track 12, You and Me, and yeah, I do hear that Nuno thing. This one was written alone by guitarist Harry Cody. It's okay. You know, I got a little Warrant, off of that lick. Meets a Gary Glitter vibe.
Oh boy.
From the big, old timey glam rock drum beat. Heavily affected vocal in the bridge, kind of reminded me of Nine Inch Nails. But we get that industrial thing coming in later on. But song was okay.
I mean, guys, let's just be honest here. Can we we do a fucking music podcast. Can we be honest? This singer is not up to snuff, and these fucking lyrics are not up to snuff. We're being very kind to this
I
album.
like the singer.
Because he looks good. Again, if you had a raging acne problem, you'd hate him.
I like the deeper vocals. That's what I like.
But there's nothing else there.
Yeah, I like Tim singing, but I didn't like the lyrics either.
The lyrics were terrible, and I just didn't think this guy was up to stuff. There wasn't enough going on here. He didn't have he didn't have the high harmony. And I'm not even talking about like screaming for the ceiling. I'm just talking about a nice mid-range fucking high harmony to make these fucking vocals pop a little more. It just got so fucking one-toned. It was just like,
I think he was capable of doing it. He just chose not to.
No, I think it was a bad choice.
Some of the other songs, he has those notes.
Yeah, like in that ballad, the power ballad one, like in the chorus. I mean, yeah, there is some fucking harmonies making that chorus pop and sound great, but he doesn't do it in the verses, and that's a problem. All right, last track finally.
I don't know. Did Lisa talk about track 12?
I'm sorry, she didn't. You can see I'm whipping the horse right now.
He's like, okay, Lisa doesn't like it either. Move on.
Lisa, talk about this fucking song.
So my first thought was, please don't sound like some other band again. And then immediately I heard the Def Leppard vocals in the background.
Def Leppard.
I did vocals only, but then I was like, okay, we do have the Shotgun Messiah sound here. Okay, this could be okay. We have an interesting melody. We have a nice pre-chorus. Not super happy about how poppy this song is. It's a little too happy of a song for me. Lyrics are about a guy who has a girl who loves him unconditionally and apparently will stay with him even if he goes out and smokes crack. So that's interesting.
Hey, guys gotta relax.
Yeah. The bridge is hugely affected. The vocal piece right before the play out, it's like industrial metal. And I don't know that I love that, but I don't know that it fits into how poppy this song is. It's giving me the whole song basically is giving me Def Leppard vibes, but at least it has their own flavor. At least it has their sound. It's more of like an emulation and a tribute than it is a copy. So I'm happy with this one.
Some weird comparisons. Yeah, we got some White Lion, some Def Leppard. It's
Skid Row.
The end of this. Holy shit.
Yep.
Track number, but I don't hear any of that in this singer. This singer doesn't sound like any of those people. That's what's so weird about this album. Track number 13, Cannot Fool Me. This is the last song on the album. I was glad they went out with a rocker, but the rhyming on this track is fucking dude, this is unforgivable. This is like, I don't know, man. If you had a 5-year-old just write me a row, 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 it's terrible. It's fucking terrible. And when Ted says you can suck it before the guitar solo kicks in, all I could think about was the solo to Out to Get Me by Guns N' Roses. And I didn't hear that solo here. This solo had zero attitude. The song had zero attitude. And unfortunately, they were trying to sell me Out to Get Me, and they didn't have the product. And I wasn't buying. I was not fooled by this. This is fucking gay. Dave.
This last one was written alone by singer Tim Skold. I thought this one was a good rocker. It sounds a lot like the bands who would come out several years later that were also influenced by 70s and 80s rock, like Backyard Babies, also from Sweden, by the way. There's a few notes in the melody that don't go where you think they will, so that makes it more interesting. The drum beat picks up during the chorus, and along with the cowbell, makes it move like a freight train. I liked the guitar solo. Some nice slide licks there. One odd thing, I hear some tom drums buried in the mix. The drummer doesn't play them a lot, but when he does, they're mixed oddly low. Maybe it had to be that way to make the overall drum sound better. But I thought it was a great, energetic ending to the album.
All right, maybe gay was a little harsh, okay? I think it was more just like a little weak tit, if you will. It didn't have the, like, why don't you just fuck off? And then Slash rips out this punk style fucking like, fuck you solo. I just didn't get any of that here, but that's what they wanted to deliver. It just wasn't there, but it's fine. It's fine. It's a good end to this album. I mean, there is no bad end to this album. It's over. Lisa.
How am I the only one that heard this? The opening of the song may as well have been Faster Pussycat's Babylon. You didn't hear it
No.
at all? Oh my God! This remember when Vanilla Ice went to court over the Queen song, and they were in the court, and they were like, "Well, theirs goes dun 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 dun, dun and ours goes dun 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 dun." And that's how different it is from Faster Pussycat. Like one note, seriously.
Dave, can you check it while she talks about the song?
Okay. In isolation, I love the sleaze metal sound of the song. I like the arrangement. I like the hook. It's so catchy. The chorus can be sung along on the first listen, so it's well written, but I can't get past the Faster Pussycat comparison. It even has the isolated vocals like Tammy's with the little guitar licks answering him back. It's so cool, but it's not exactly theirs. I don't know. I guess you guys don't hear it, but I hear it. Great guitar solo with so much emotion and feel and sleaze and fitting for the song in complete isolation. I think it's a great song, but I'm taking a little bit of marks off because of how close it is to Faster Pussycat. Yeah.
Dave, did you get a chance to listen? What did you think?
Yeah, I'm listening to it. I can kind of hear that a little bit.
Kind of. It's so obvious.
You know, maybe they were trying for something. I like this one, but
well, let me say this. I was sure that you guys were both going to pick this up. So I wrote in my notes, I wonder how people who heard this song who don't really know Faster Pussycat as intimately as us would hear it, because we all heard it, because I was sure that you guys were going to hear it.
I'm going to have to go back and listen now.
I got more Backyard Babies vibe rather than Faster Pussycat.
Right.
But
So Lisa, talking about Ice Ice Baby and that sample he used and how he just tried to sell us all that it wasn't fucking Queen, right?
Yeah.
You know what's funny though? You think about how big that is now, people sampling these old songs. He was the pioneer of that. I wish he had just said, yeah, it's something I just created. I'm going to be doing rapping over fucking old rock samples, because he did it first. I mean, one of the first to do it.
I think the problem was he didn't get permission for the sample. That was the problem.
Right. But the song was such a hit it then. I'm sure if he had reached out to, Queen, whoever owned it, they would have been like, yeah, sure, we'll split the fucking cash with you. Why not?
Yeah.
It's like when Aerosmith did it with fucking Run DMC, they resurrected that song. They resurrected Walk This Way for a million people that never heard it. So,
yeah.
All right. That's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the discussion on Shotgun Messiah's Second Coming. Ben, we did this for you. I hope you still listen to the show, because if not, we just did Shotgun Messiah for nothing. Guys, I really want you guys to write in and tell me about Strange Days, the movie. I mean, Stoned Age. Stoned Age. Sorry.
Wow.
Stoned. I am fucking Stoned Age.
Dez's Stoned Age.
Yes, I am Stoned Age right now. It's 2 hours and 22 minutes. And yes, of course, I took a giant edible. So yeah, write in, let us know if you've seen it, if you are going to see it, or if you would like to hear us talk about it. Favorite song, Heartbreak Boulevard, surprise, surprise. Song I would cut, Ride the Storm, because it fucking sucked. Dave.
Favorite track, several good ones. I'm going with Ride the Storm. Favorite track. My second choice would be Can't Fool Me, the last track. Heartbreak Boulevard is also awesome, but yeah, I like a lot of these. And I would cut Trouble. Didn't like that one.
Okay, Lisa.
So my favorite was Heartbreak Boulevard, with a nod to sex, drugs, and rock and roll is my second favorite.
Mm.
I would cut Free. That song was terrible. Yeah, yuck.
All right, let's remove some musicians here. Of course, I'm taking Ted out of this band. And of course, I'm replacing him with Jerry Cantrell. He could also play the guitar solos, and he could write some better lyrics and make this band heavier and bring them right into the 90s as a grunge band. It would have worked perfectly. Dave.
Everyone in the band is fine, all competent musicians, but since we know for their next album they would go more electro metal, let's connect our last episode with this one and elect Sean E. Salt from White Zombie as their new bassist.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it is good. I like that.
Yeah.
It works perfectly.
Yeah, kicking some ass on bass.
For a girl.
Oh,
dude.
Des.
Gee, I'm
can't say that.
joking. Jesus Christ. Lisa.
I'm replacing Styx with the Roland TR-909 rhythm composer.
That's
Oh my
amazing.
God.
That's
The drum
amazing.
machine.
Best one ever.
Nice.
Okay. Best one ever. Okay, so that's your pick. I like it. If you're
That's
going to
my
stick,
pick.
you're going
Yeah.
to, she's going to land. She stuck the landing, guys. That was
Yep.
perfect. Okay, final thoughts. Let's score it. This was way, way better than I thought it would be. But Ted falls a little short for me as a vocalist, and half the album is solid, but the other half runs out of gas right around track 7 for me. I probably won't listen to the entire album again. I think that I would probably listen to the first 7 tracks again while I was working. So it's a half a re-listen for me. And for those reasons, I'm giving a 64.9. It was a little better than average for sure. Dave.
Okay, you can complain about sampled and triggered drums, but you know what? The drums on this album sound like pretty much any other rock album in 1991, and it was probably done much faster than the other bands who spent weeks miking drums and choosing the right effects. There's some songs that are really pretty good and a few that are pretty generic on this album. I would like to have seen a bigger producer help them refine the album to be even cooler. As is, though, if I had it back in my teen years, it would have been one of the tapes I busted out only when I was sick of everything else, spun it once, then put it back into the back spot of my tape case until I got sick of listening to my regular stuff again. I probably wouldn't spin the full album again, just the highlights, but it has grown on me. My first go around, I didn't really like it, but some of these songs are really going up in the ranks for me. But I'm giving this one a score of 64.7.
Holy shit, that's awesome.
We almost had the same
We
score.
almost had the same
Wow.
fucking score. Lisa.
So I like this one. I remembered a few of the songs. It was a fun listen. I didn't like how much emulation they did with other bands, but it kind of makes sense when they're going to end up in the world of industrial music where there's a lot of samples and lifts from other bands. I like that this paved the way for their third album, which was incredible, and for a Scold's future career, which would be full of creative and unique sounds and groundbreaking mixes. So I'm forgiving that. I think the third album was overlooked due to the time period it came out in, and I think everyone should go back and give the third album another listen. I was actually shocked at how good it was after all these years listening to that again. I'm not going to listen to this one again all the way through, but I will listen to the hits. I will definitely listen to KMFDM, Leather Strip, Aesthetic Perfection, all of his solo stuff, and the new album that is coming out in October, which has a couple singles out already. 100% definitely will listen to that stuff. He's one of the innovators and drivers of this style that is still crazy popular today. We saw him play as recently as 2023. I do have tickets to see Frontline Assembly in October coming up, but he's not in the lineup anymore, unfortunately. Hopefully he will come around with his new solo band and support his new album. But currently there are no shows scheduled for that either. I'm giving this album a 79.6.
Wow. Almost an 80.
Mm. Yep.
That's high.
Sticking by it.
That's high. Okay. Lisa, add up those scores and tell us where Shotgun's Messiah's second coming lands on the Violent Vinyl Radio board.
Okay, on Violent Vinyl's album chart, Shotgun Messiah Second Coming, which is their second studio album, comes in at number 18 on the chart with a total score of 69.73, putting it directly below last week's White Zombie, Last Exorcisto Devil Music Volume 1, and right above Kix Blow My Fuse.
Kicks
No,
is
that-
way better.
Way better. Way.
No.
Oh,
What?
yeah.
Dude,
Oh
Kix-
God! Ugh.
Kicks his fucking
Look
album.
at my
takes-
look at my score on Kix. See, I'm right.
Yeah, you tanked the score on.
Yep.
That
Kix
It's
album
terrible.
takes this thing out to the woodshed. This thing, that Kicks album takes this thing to the fucking bathhouse and is his daddy, okay? It's that simple.
In all ways.
Okay. Lisa, you have
All
the next
right.
pick. Will you please tell us and the listeners what our homework will be for the next 2 weeks?
All right, get ready because I'm doing it.
Okay.
I'm finally doing it.
Uh-oh.
We are going to do the 1991 release second studio album from Skid Row, Slave to the Grind.
Awesome. Awesome. With one of-
Finally.
With the greatest metal vocal
Ever
ever
recorded.
recorded. And that is a
Yep.
fact. That's
It
not an
is.
opinion. That's a fact.
I totally agree with you.
I literally get chills and sometimes cry at how
Yep.
good his fucking execution is on that song.
Yep, agree.
Okay, and for the should they have made it?
For Should They Have Made It? We're going back to the day of power ballads. We're going to do the Boston band Sweet Cheater, who used to play all the time at Narcissus, and the song is called "I've Got You."
Sweet Cheetah. That's awesome, man. I haven't revisited these guys in a long time.
They are still playing today. Just fun fact.
They're fucking great. Great musicians, great guys from Boston.
They are.
Okay. On our sister podcast, hey, did you ever see that movie? Our next movie is going to be Deep Blue Sea. Deep Blue Sea with Samuel L. fucking Jackson. So,
I've never
yeah.
seen that one. Huh.
It's a pretty fun movie.
Yeah, it's a
I'll
fun
have to
movie. You
watch
got
that.
LL Cool J and
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
yeah, so it'll be fun.
Lovely.
We should watch that later today.
All right.
No, you should watch The Stoned
The Stoned
Age
Age.
later.
Oh,
Dave,
okay.
listen, Dave, watch The Stoned Age. You're gonna fucking love it, okay? Trust me. This is a Dave fucking movie. You're gonna love this movie.
All right.
Okay. All right, everybody. Until next time, take those albums out of the sleeve and let the music breathe. See you later.